Chapter 768. Crack. However, as soon as the quintessential saint unleashed his destructive attack, a deafening clap of thunder resounded from the 9 heavens. It sounded like the wrath of a god. The quintessential saint suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He was in extreme danger. Everyone was shocked, and they all raised their heads to look. They all saw a bolt of annihilation lightning surrounded by purple light suddenly descend from the clear sky. It struck the quintessential saint with great precision. Oh no! The quintessential saint's face turned pale. He couldn't hide the fear in his eyes. As a member of the Dark Thunder clan, he was well versed in the way of lightning. He could feel true death from the purple lightning. Immediately, he used his divine ability and secret technique and flashed several hundred miles away like a ghost. Unfortunately, no matter how fast he was, he couldn't be faster than the lightning. In the next moment, a violent explosion resounded. The quintessential saint let out a cry of despair before his soul was scattered and turned into ashes. What's going on? Lightning struck from the sky and killed Elder Hongzhan? Why? Could it have something to do with that junior? It can't be. He's just a Calamity Realm cultivator. How could he summon such destructive lightning? That scene sent chills down the spines of the Dark Thunder clan, the Divine Fire clan, and the other clans in the Void Zone who were watching from afar. The inexplicable lightning struck fear into even the quintessential Saint Realm experts of the older generation. Of course, there were also people who suspected that the purple lightning was summoned by Qinyu. Jiao Jingtian and Jiao Junhua's faces were pale. Their bodies trembled as fear filled their hearts. Others only suspected that the lightning had something to do with Qinyu, but they were very certain. This was because they had seen Qinyu casually cast a lightning divine ability when they joined forces with Qinyu in the Holy World. Although it wasn't as powerful as the Annihilation Lightning, it was definitely not a coincidence. It's not over yet. Looking at the members of the Dark Thunder clan who were looking at him with fear and bewilderment, Qinyu revealed a faint smile. The karmic power of the curse would not only affect the Sky Saint Realm elders, but everyone present would also be affected. Rumble. Sure enough, before Qinyu's voice sounded, rolling dark black thunderclouds crazily gathered. Streaks of purple lightning rolled in the thunderclouds like electric pythons and thunder dragons, exuding an unparalleled divine power. The other members of the Dark Thunder clan all paled in fright. However, with the Heavenly Saint Stage Elder as an example, they did not flee in all directions. Instead, they summoned their secret treasures and formed an ancient battle array. They worked together to defend against the destructive divine lightning. As for the other Void Domain experts, they all scattered. It was clear that, for some unknown reason, the purple-colored tribulation lightning had targeted the Dark Thunder clan. They did not wish to be swept into it. Elder, it must be that brat's doing. At this moment, the younger generation of the Dark Thunder clan, who had long suspected that it was Qinyu's doing, stared at Qinyu with burning killing intent. Everything had started when the Sky Saint Stage Elder had attacked Qinyu. No matter how they looked at it, it had to have something to do with Qinyu. Let's get through this tribulation first. The Dark Thunder clan's elders were not in the mood to deal with Qinyu at all. They watched the destructive lightning tribulation with incomparably grim expressions. Rumble. Immediately after, the purple lightning that filled the sky suddenly descended from the 9 heavens like a torrent. That terrifying might shook the mountains and caused all living things to tremble in fear. By the time the purple lightning dissipated, the members of the Dark Thunder clan, who had formed a defensive formation, were nowhere to be seen. They had all perished. This made the expressions of the Void Domain experts who had witnessed it with their own eyes change drastically. Even now, they didn't know why such a destructive lightning tribulation would suddenly descend and target the Dark Thunder clan. Could it be that it was truly only because he had attacked Qinyu? Qinyu wasn't surprised at all. In other words, the Sky Saint Stage Elder had only been affected by it. If he had been directly affected by the power of the curse, it wouldn't have just been a small disaster like this. Instead, the entire Dark Thunder clan would have been affected. It might even have been wiped out. It would have been just like the sky demons who had been affected and had been forced to sacrifice themselves. Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's go. After the Dark Thunder clan was wiped out, Qin Yu's figure flashed and appeared in front of the two trembling Jiao Jingtian. Qin Yu did not show the slightest bit of mercy to these two traitors. He directly killed them. With his current cultivation base, it was easy for him to deal with a mid-calamity stage cultivator. It's your turn now. Then, Qin Yu looked at the Divine Flame clan members, who were still in shock and confusion, and flew toward them. Let's go. The Divine Flame clan members didn't hesitate. They didn't want Qin Yu to come close at all. They immediately flew away. They didn't want to end up like the people of the Dark Thunder clan and die for no reason. Qin Yu felt a little regretful. It seemed that the curse on him would take some time to dissipate. Although he had the Great Fate Technique's remnant scroll to resist it, the curse karma was still winding around his body the entire time. Qin Yu had an uneasy feeling. There's something strange about this kid. Let's go. Could it be that he's possessed by the legendary god of misfortune? Who knows? In any case, don't provoke him. Seeing Qin Yu looking at them, the Void Domain experts who had wanted to watch a good show immediately dispersed. Looking at the empty teleportation space, Qin Yu didn't linger. He flew away. Qin Yu had two goals. The first was to go to the Palace of Gods of War and pass on the inheritance Zhan Wuji had given him to his descendants. The second was to find Dragon's Mausoleum and use the dragons to improve his cultivation base. It had been some time since he had left the Heaven Realm. His cultivation base had just entered the Calamity stage. Qin Yu felt that this cultivation speed was too slow. He had to hurry and find the dragons. If he couldn't find Dragon's Mausoleum, Qin Yu would have to take the risk and sneak back to the Fire Realm to take the dragons from the Fire God Palace as an ancestral demon. Of course, before going to the Palace of Gods of War, Qin Yu decided to go to the places Dragon's Mausoleum was mentioned by Zhan Wuji. As for the reason, it was naturally because he wanted to dissipate the curse on him before going to the Palace of Gods of War. Otherwise, those who came in contact with him in the future would be affected by the curse and suffer natural disasters. According to the information Qin Yu had gathered, the Void Domain was divided into 7 provinces, each of which was vast and boundless with billions of living beings. The place they were now in was called the Ancient Province. The overlords of the Ancient Province were the Dark Thunder race, the Divine Flame race, the Three-Eyed race, and other ancient races. As for the Palace of Gods of War, it was in the Xingzhou province, which was at the center of the Void Domain. The place Qin Yu was going to was a forbidden area in the ancient province, where Dragon's Mausoleum had appeared. While traveling, Qin Yu also went to the Dark Thunder race's territory. After making a few rounds, he left after causing chaos in the Dark Thunder race's territory. Chapter 769. That mysterious and unfathomable curse power caused all the influences in ancient province to keep Qin Yu at a respectful distance. In just a few days, his portrait rapidly spread throughout the ancient province. He was like a god of plague. Wherever he went, people and animals fled. Even a colossus like the Dark Thunder clan vomited blood because of him. How could an ordinary influence dare to provoke him? Qin Yu smoothly arrived at the forbidden land of ancient province. This was a barren land with a deathly aura. There wasn't the slightest bit of life. Even the sky was dark, making one feel stifled. It was rumored that this forbidden land had ominous life forms. Anyone who entered would inexplicably die in a horrifying manner. After Qin Yu stepped in, he did indeed sense several terrifying auras that made his hair stand on end. But then, a strange scene occurred. After those terrifying auras sensed him approaching, they fled into the depths of the forbidden land, not daring to come out. Qin Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It seemed that the curse karma on his body was even more ominous than those so-called ominous life forms. In this forbidden land of death, after carefully probing with the war dragon coiling dragon and the dragon god ancient seal, he didn't sense any dragon race aura. This disappointed Qin Yu. It seemed that the mysterious dragon tomb didn't exist in ancient province. Qin Yu didn't stay in ancient province for long. He headed to the next place where the dragon tomb appeared. Qin Yu didn't use a transmission array. Like an ascetic monk, he traveled on foot. He had traversed endless deserts, traversed deep mountains and forests, encountered ferocious and domineering great demons, and cultivated in secluded paradises that were hard to find. Half a year's time had passed in the midst of Qin Yu's journey. In this half a year, Qin Yu obtained several lucky chances. He refined tens of thousands of spirit medicines and his cultivation rose greatly. He had already stepped into the middle heavenly disaster realm. More importantly, the curse karma on Qin Yu's body had finally dissipated. The only pity was that the few places that Qin Yu went to did not have any traces of the mysterious dragon tomb. This made Qin Yu a little disappointed. Therefore, Qin Yu didn't hesitate to head to the Void Domain's sacred continent after the karma of the curse dissipated. He planned to complete Zhan Wuji's request and search for Dragon Tomb. In the northernmost part of the Holy Continent in the Void Domain, in front of a mountain range that was quite barren of the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. "Are you sure this is the palace of Ares?" The dragon soul, which had been cultivating in the dragon god ancient seal, looked at the somewhat dilapidated palace at the top of the mountain range. Then, it gave Qin Yu a strange look. According to Zhan Wuji's information, the Palace of Gods of War was the top overlord of the Void Zone. They had the unparalleled battle prowess to conquer the Void Zone and even the Great Spirit World. Even though the strength of the Palace of Gods of Battle would drop significantly after Zhan Wuji's departure, it had only been 400 years. With the Palace of Gods of War's foundation, it shouldn't have weakened so quickly, right? We'll know once we ask. Qin Yu was also somewhat surprised as he stepped into the mountain range. The restrictions and formations that covered the mountain range made Qin Yu and Xiao Chen feel even more strange. Wasn't this precaution a little too much? Could it be that someone was about to invade? Whoosh! Just as they were halfway up the mountain, a flickering spiritual rune with a terrifying destructive aura suddenly shot over. The light was extremely fast and didn't leave the slightest ripple in the air. Even a sky saint might not be able to avoid it. Freeze! Qin Yu's expression changed slightly. Although the light was fast, it wasn't very powerful. As his heavenly origin energy swept out, the light shattered. It was a sharp arrow. After it shattered, it turned into specks of light and dissipated. Whoosh! 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 The shattering of that sharp arrow seemed to have triggered some kind of mechanism. Arrows filled the sky, covering the sky and covering the earth. At a glance, it was impossible to tell how many there were. Dragon Soul, go and capture them. Qin Yu waved his sleeve, and his heavenly origin energy surged. It turned into a thick and majestic shield, blocking all the light dots that were shooting over. In order to avoid accidental injuries, Qin Yu didn't counterattack. Right now, it was better to figure out the situation first. The Dragon Soul nodded slightly. The space around it shook, and the space-time energy spread out as it disappeared. In the next moment, several exclamations came from the mountain range in the distance. Seeing that the Dragon Soul had succeeded, Qin Yu roared and the heavenly origin energy shield exploded, turning into a terrifying shockwave that swept out. The sharp arrows that covered the sky and covered the earth were all shattered, turning into powder and dissipating. Qin Yu leaped up and rushed towards the Dragon Soul's location. In the ancient forest a few hundred meters away from Qin Yu, the Dragon Soul was surrounded by people. Killing intent filled the air, and the atmosphere was tense. However, those people didn't dare to attack because the Dragon Soul had two hostages in its hands. One was a man and the other was a woman. Both of them were quite young. Let them go, or don't blame us for being impolite. A man in heavy armor shouted coldly. The halberd in his hand flickered with the cold light of a forbidden technique. It had an extremely strong killing intent, and was stained with the blood of countless creatures. Although his aura was fierce, his cultivation base was only at the celestial venerable realm. Such strength was completely at the bottom of the Xingzhou continent, which was the center of the void domain. Even those young void domain experts who participated in the trial of the saints' world had extraordinary battle strength that could rival celestial venerables, and this halberd-wielding man's cultivation base was the strongest among these people. Don't be nervous. We don't mean any harm. We were just asked to come and visit. The dragon soul was somewhat helpless. If it weren't for the fact that it was afraid that these people would attack indiscriminately with their strength, it wouldn't need any hostages at all. It, who had comprehended space-time abilities, had no difficulty fighting celestial venerables. If it went all out, even sky saints were nothing to be afraid of. Who are you? Seeing the dragon soul's appearance, the halberd-wielding man still asked vigilantly. He could tell that the dragon soul didn't have any killing intent towards them. Otherwise, with its mysterious space-time abilities, they wouldn't be able to do anything to it. Before that, I'd like to know if this place is really the Palace of War. Is it the Palace of War that once ruled the Void Domain? Qin Yu, who had just arrived, stood on a tree branch and looked down at the halberd-wielding man and the others. Why are you asking when you already know the answer? Are you trying to humiliate us? These words made the halberd-wielding man's eyelids twitch, and his expression turned unsightly. The others also glared angrily, as if they had been insulted. It seems that we've come to the right place. Qin Yu jumped down from the tree and motioned for the dragon soul to release the two. Why are you here? The halberd-wielding man quickly shielded the two behind him, but didn't let his guard down. We were asked to come by your war race's patriarch, Qin Yu said indifferently. Asked to come by the patriarch? You. The halberd-wielding man's expression froze in disbelief. The other members of the war race were also shocked speechless. Chapter 770. Upon hearing Qin Yu's words, Zhang Jianghai's train of thought seemed to stop. It had been hundreds of years since the war race's patriarch had disappeared. No one had mentioned him. All the experts in the void domain, including the war race, thought that the war race's patriarch had passed away in order to break through to a higher level. After all, apart from this possibility, there was no other possibility for the war race's patriarch to disappear for hundreds of years. However now, this Qin Yu and Li Qie, who had suddenly appeared, actually said that they had received a request from the war clan's ancestor? Subconsciously, Zhang Jianghai thought that Qin Yu was lying. However, after thinking about it, he felt that it was unlikely. With Qin Yu and the war race's strength, there was no need for them to tell such a lie that could be easily seen through. Who's in charge of the war race now? Take me to him. Qin Yu did not bother to talk nonsense. He activated the inheritance light sphere that Zhan Wuji had given him, and a unique fluctuation spread out. Everyone from the war race present was shaken to the core. Their bloodline boiled, and they vaguely felt a strong connection with Qin Yu. This made Zhang Jianghai and the others even more shocked. The unique fluctuation on Qin Yu's body was the origin fluctuation of their war race's bloodline. In other words, Qin Yu had their war race's origin bloodline? At this point, no matter how much Zhang Jianghai doubted it, he could only believe that Qin Yu and the war race's patriarch had something to do with them. Still doubtful and on guard, Zhang Jianghai led Qin Yu and the war race to the God of War Palace. Along the way they saw many collapsed palaces, destroyed ancient trees, deep holes in the ground, and the faint smell of blood in the air. Qin Yu and the dragon soul exchanged glances. It seemed that the God of War Palace had just gone through a massacre. No wonder their reaction was so intense, and they attacked directly without saying anything. The others from the God of War Palace found it strange that Zhang Jianghai had brought back two strangers. When they found out from the war clansmen that Qin Yu and Qin Yu might be related to their old ancestor that had disappeared for several hundred years, the entire war clan burst into an uproar and began to discuss heatedly. At this moment, in the main hall of the Palace of Gods of War, more than 10 figures sat facing each other. The atmosphere was heavy. Their cultivation bases were all at the quintessential saint realm. On the main seat was an old man with white hair and a white beard. There were 3 blade scars on the left side of his face. He was a heavenly god. These people were the core elders of the war tribe. The white-haired elder was the leader of the war tribe Zhan Wuqiong. However, the auras of Zhan Wuqiong and the others were a little messy, as if they were injured. Patriarch, the ancient Han sex invasion must be controlled by them. It's only been less than 100 years, yet they're already so impatient to attack us. That's normal. After all, only by annihilating us would they be able to smoothly inherit the ancestors' inheritance. The problem is, with their strength, it's not an exaggeration to say that it's easy for them to annihilate us. Why do they have to be so sneaky? They must be plotting something. We have to be prepared in advance. Do we really have to abandon our ancestral land? The quintessential Saint Realm elders discussed among themselves. The atmosphere was getting heavier. Although they knew who was targeting them secretly, there was nothing they could do. This feeling of helplessness made them feel sullen. Back when the old ancestor was still alive, countless experts from all over the Void Zone had submitted to him. How glorious was that! Unfortunately, after the old ancestor's disappearance, their bloodline was somehow sealed, and their cultivation base fell sharply. The war race had completely fallen. If we lose our ancestral land, we can still take it back when the later generations become stronger. However, if we're annihilated, there's no hope at all, Zhan Wuqiong said in a deep voice, interrupting the discussion in the hall. The quintessential Saint Realm elders fell silent when they heard his words. Although they were unwilling, they had to admit that Zhan Wuqiong's decision was right. Patriarch, Zhan Jianghai has brought people to see you. They say it's urgent. At this moment, a heavenly venerate knocked on the door and reported respectfully, "Let them in." Zhan Wuqiong nodded slightly. Before long, Zhan Jianghai brought Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul into the main hall. This aura, however, the moment they stepped into the main hall, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul's expressions brightened. They couldn't help but exchange glances with each other, their eyes shining brightly. "Jianghai, what's going on with these two brats?" a quintessential Saint Realm elder asked as he sized up Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul. They were unfamiliar faces that they had never seen before. They weren't from the war race. At such a critical moment, Zhan Jianghai wouldn't bring 2 strangers here for no reason. Patriarch, elders, these 2 people said that the old ancestor asked them to come. Zhan Jianghai quickly replied. "What? The old ancestor asked them to come? What are you talking about?" The elders of the war race reacted the same way as Zhan Jianghai and the others. They were all shocked. Qin Yu recovered from the shock and looked at Zhan Wuqiong and the rest of the war race's remaining forces in silence. Zhan Wuji had risked his life to suppress the demons for the sake of the people in the Void Zone, but in the end, his descendants had fallen to such a state. If Zhan Wuji knew about this, who knew how he would react? "Shut up, all of you!" At this moment, a fierce shout rang out and the main hall fell silent. It was Zhan Wuqiong who had spoken. "Jianghai, what's going on?" Although Zhan Wuqiong asked Zhan Jianghai, his gaze was fixed on Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul. Facing a heavenly god and a dozen quintessential saints, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul's expressions didn't change at all. Zhan Wuqiong's eyes narrowed as a strange light flickered in them. Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul's fearlessness meant that they weren't ordinary people. "Patriarch, it's like this. They suddenly came here, saying that the old ancestor asked them to. Moreover, they do have fluctuations of power that resonate with our war race's bloodline. Zhang Jianghai said, his eyes filled with shock. If it weren't for the fluctuations of power that resonated with their bloodline on Qin Yu, Zhang Jianghai wouldn't have brought Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul to the war race's territory. This made the quintessential Saint Elders even more surprised. They exchanged glances, but no one said a word. Did the two of you really come here under the old ancestors' request? The corners of Zhang Wuqiong's eyes twitched as he asked solemnly. He couldn't help but find it strange that Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul had come with the old ancestors' request in this turbulent time. It's useless to say more. Take a look for yourselves. Qin Yu smiled. He didn't care about the doubts of Zhang Wuqiong and the others. With a flick of his finger, the glowing sphere of inheritance appeared and floated in front of Zhang Wuqiong and the others. The moment the glowing sphere of inheritance appeared, everyone from the war race, including Zhang Wuqiong, felt excited. Their bodies trembled as they cried tears of joy. Old Ancestor. Chapter 771. It's true. It's the ancestral founder's aura. Zhang Jianghai, the Sky Sage Realm Elders, and Zhang Wuqiong were all extremely excited. Some of them even cried tears of joy. The ripple from the inheritance light ball was connected to their bloodline. It was the ripple of their origin bloodline and could not be faked. Little brother, this inheritance light ball, Zhang Wuqiong, was the first to react. After all, he was a heavenly god. Even so, Zhang Wuqiong's body was still trembling slightly. He could not hide his excitement. Although he did not touch it, Zhang Wuqiong could sense that the inheritance light ball contained a terrifying amount of origin energy. Once the inheritance light ball was unsealed, the bloodline of the entire war tribe would be completely awakened. It was even possible for the war tribe to regain their former glory. After all, the war tribe's downfall was due to the disappearance of their ancestral founder. However, more importantly, their war tribe's bloodline had suddenly become dormant for some reason. For large bloodline tribes like them, when their bloodline was dormant, their battle strength would be reduced by at least 80%. Now, Zhang Wuqiong could sense the aura of their bloodline being awakened from the inheritance light ball. How could he not be excited? This is the war tribe's inheritance that your ancestral founder had entrusted to me before he passed away. Qin Yu said honestly. The ancestral founder passed away? The people of the war race, who were originally incomparably excited and unable to control themselves, suddenly became deathly silent. This news was even more shocking than the fact that their war tribe's bloodline could be reignited. Although they had guessed it countless times over the past few hundred years, they still found it hard to believe when they heard the news. After all, their ancestral founder was truly invincible. He could even kill gods. What in the world happened? Zhang Wuqiong asked in a deep voice. Qin Yu did not hide anything and told them about Zhang Wuji's attempt to suppress the Sky Demon tribe. Since Zhang Wuji had formed his inheritance, these things should be sealed in the inheritance light ball. Zhang Wuqiong and the others would know about it. Sky Demon tribe? Yin Yang Supreme God. His divine soul self-immolation. I see. So that's why our bloodline power was sealed and disappeared? After hearing the news, Zhang Wuqiong and the others finally understood what was going on. They did not complain about Everlasting War's actions. After all, to a certain extent, Everlasting War had protected them. As the knots in their hearts were untied in the past several hundred years, they all became much more open-minded. Little friend, please forgive us. Please stay for a few more days. Once we've received the inheritance, we'll definitely reward you handsomely. Zhang Wuqiong looked at the inheritance sphere and said solemnly to Qin Yu. If what Qin Yu said was true, then the act of Qin Yu returning the inheritance light sphere was undoubtedly a grace of rebirth to their war clan. Sure. Qin Yu chuckled and didn't refuse. He left the main palace with the Dragon Soul and settled down in the war race. According to Qin Yu's original plan, They would have left immediately after completing Everlasting Jean's request. But now there were some things that they needed to confirm. Gather all the heavenly venerables in the war clan immediately. Those who volunteer can receive the inheritance. After Qin Yu and the dragon soul left, Zhan Wuqiong held the inheritance light sphere and said in a deep voice, although the inheritance light sphere might really contain the old ancestors' inheritance, Zhan Wuqiong didn't want to take the risk given the war clan's current situation. As a precaution, he didn't let the elders above the Sky Sage realm take the risk. Instead, he gathered the second group of heavenly venerables. In that case, even if there were to be some sort of problem, it would not cause any harm to their war clan. The other Sky Sage realm elders didn't rush to accept the inheritance and immediately went to gather the war clan's heavenly venerables. Soon, the first batch of people who volunteered to receive the inheritance went into seclusion. 3 days later, the batch of heavenly venerables came out of seclusion. Their bloodlines were fully awakened and their cultivations were increasing rapidly. They even received the inheritance left behind by Zhan Wuji. This scene made Zhan Wuqiong and the others overjoyed. They all went to receive the inheritance in batches. In the end, even Zhan Wuqiong went into seclusion to receive the inheritance. After receiving the inheritance, the people of the war clan discovered that the higher their cultivation base, the longer they would be in seclusion to receive the inheritance. The first batch of heavenly venerables had already successfully awakened their bloodlines and came out of seclusion. The others had only just awakened their bloodlines, but their cultivation base had already skyrocketed. The weakest had reached the peak of the heavenly venerate realm, while the strongest had directly stepped into the Sky Sage realm. From this, one could see how terrifying the war clan's bloodline was. As the people of the war clan awakened their bloodlines one after another. In the center of the Xingzhou continent in the Void Zone, there was a towering divine palace that shone with divine light. There were 3 ancient words above the divine palace. They were simple and ancient and filled with supreme majesty. Those 3 ancient words were none other than the War God Hall. At this moment, in the divine palace, a man wearing a divine robe and a purple gold crown opened his eyes. As he breathed, the yuan qi of heaven and earth rushed into his body like a long dragon. This man looked like he had just entered his middle age, but his cultivation base was monstrous and terrifying. He was like an ancient ferocious beast that contained boundless divine might. Master has returned? The divine-robed man opened his right hand and looked at the ancient seal in his palm that had been silent for hundreds of years and was now trembling slightly. His eyes were filled with unconcealable fear. No, if it's master, the war god seal wouldn't be reacting so weakly. Could it be that someone of the war clan has awakened their bloodline? After a moment of shock, the divine-robed man quickly came to his senses and calmly analyzed. With this thought, a fierce and ruthless look appeared in the divine-robed man's eyes. It seems that the plan has to be brought forward. Immediately, the divine-robed man stood up and left the divine palace. It didn't take long for several figures to silently disappear from the war god hall like ghosts and ghosts. At this moment, in the war god palace at the border of the desolate region, with the awakening of their bloodline power, everyone in the war clan was wild with joy. Over the past few days, Qin Yu and Long Hun, who had been staying in the war clan, hadn't been idle. They had been wandering around the war clan, as if they were looking for something. As the war clan and the others' attitudes towards them changed, Qin Yu and Long Hun learned why the war god palace, which used to be the overlord of the Void Zone, had fallen to such a state. 100 years ago, as the war clan's experts had weakened day by day, the war god palace had fallen into internal strife. Zhan Wuji's second disciple, Nangong Backing, had advocated the disappearance of the war clan's bloodline, and couldn't lead the war god palace to its peak. After the internal strife, the war god palace had split into 2 factions. The war god palace led by the war clan and the war god hall led by Nangong Backing. Chapter 772. After Nangong Baking founded the War God Hall, he claimed to be the true successor of the everlasting war god. As a result, a great war broke out. In the end, the war race was defeated. Countless experts died. In the end, they could only retreat to the desolate ancestral land. The war god Hall grew stronger day by day. In the end, they occupied the Xingzhou continent, the place with the most abundant resources. After the bloodline of the war race was sealed, and they lost countless experts in the war for supremacy, they could only stay in this desolate place. Although the war race was filled with anger, in this world they were powerless. However, in this world where strength reigned supreme, they could only watch helplessly as the war god temple was gradually recognized by the void domain experts as the orthodox sect of their patriarch. As for the war race, they were about to be forgotten. After learning the truth, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul also learned about the war race's current situation. A while ago, the sects that had invaded the War God Temple for no apparent reason were most likely behind the War God Temple's actions, just as the rumors had been circulating within the War God tribe. Of course, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were not interested in the internal strife between the War God Palace and the War God Hall. The reason they stayed in the war race was because they sensed the aura of the dragon race. Although the aura was vague, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul still sensed it. It should be near the war race's main palace. This was because they suddenly sensed the aura of the dragon race after entering the main palace. However, the strange thing was that even though Qin Yu and Chu Feng tried to indirectly inquire about the Dragon Clan from the War Clan, they were unable to obtain any information regarding the Dragon Clan. Judging from the expressions of the war race, they shouldn't be lying to them. After all, as more and more war race clansmen awakened their bloodlines, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were very popular in the war race. There's no mistaking it. There should be a dragon race sealed under the main palace. After making some detailed inquiries, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul returned to the war race's main palace. As Zhan Wuqiong and the other elders went into seclusion, Qin Yu couldn't find the person in charge of the war race. Of course, with Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul's character, they naturally wouldn't just wait there. Without hesitation, Qin Yu took out the earth-burrowing talisman. Following the surging of the earthy yellow gas, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul directly burrowed into the ground. The deeper they went underground, the clearer Qin Yu and Nye Tian could sense the aura fluctuations of the dragons. After going 10,000 kilometers deep underground, Qin Yu and Li Wuyo arrived at a huge underground world. Broken walls could be seen everywhere in the underground world. Countless collapsed palaces and buildings could be seen everywhere. At first glance, it was boundless, as if it was an ancient divine nation that had fallen. The entire void was filled with the aura of time left behind by the ancient times. It made one feel as if they were in the ancient times and felt insignificant. However, when they arrived, Qin Yu and Li Qia's gazes were focused on a certain place. There was a huge pitch-black altar that towered into the sky. The altar was octagonal, and there were mysterious talismans carved on it from the mythological era. On the pitch-black altar, there was a huge creature that was pierced and sealed by countless divine chains. It was a pitch-black ancient dragon that was covered in ferocious dragon scales and exuded a mighty dragon aura. The dark demon Evil Dragon. Qin Yu had inherited the legacy of the war dragon Immortal King, so he recognized the ancient dragon at a glance. The dark demon Evil Dragon was a ferocious evil dragon from the mythological era. Even among the dragon race, it was extremely ferocious and powerful. According to the ancient records, during the mythological era, when the gods had proven their Tao, the dark demon Evil Dragon had hunted down countless gods. However, the dark demon Evil Dragon was now pierced by countless divine chains and sealed on the ancient altar. Black dragon blood flowed out continuously and merged with the ancient runes on the octagonal altar. From the aura of the dark demon Evil Dragon, Although its cultivation wasn't as terrifying as it had been in the mythological era, it was at least at the heavenly ethereal realm. Even in the Xingzhou continent, where experts were as common as clouds, a heavenly ethereal realm existence was definitely an almighty existence. One could only imagine how terrifying the existence that could seal the dark demon evil dragon in this place was. The aura of dragon blood? Just as Qin Yu and the dragon soul were sizing up the dark demon evil dragon, the dark demon evil dragon seemed to have sensed something. Its lake-sized dragon eyes opened, and two beams of pitch-black divine light pierced through the void. Looks like it's not dead yet. Seeing the dark demon evil dragon open its eyes, Qin Yu and the dragon soul became even more joyful. A dragon that had fallen and a dragon that was still alive were two completely different meanings. After refining a living dragon race, Qin Yu could increase his cultivation to the greatest extent, and his understanding of the dragon race's superpowers would also become clearer. You aren't part of the dragon race, so why do you have such pure dragon race bloodline? The dark demon evil dragon spoke, its voice like thunder, causing the underground ruins to tremble violently. Do you want to live? Qin Yu didn't answer. He flew to the ancient pitch-black altar and asked, What? Do you think I want to live? With your mere calamity realm cultivation, you can trap me in this array again. The dark demon evil dragon had already seen through Qin Yu and the dragon soul's cultivation. Although it was surprised and curious about the dragon race bloodline in Qin Yu and the dragon soul's body, that was all it was. There was no other reason. Qin Yu and the dragon soul's cultivation was too weak. It could burn a calamity realm expert to ashes with a single breath. The evil soul demonic array devours the essence of all things in the world and forms evil soul demonic chi. It can enter a person's body and control their soul. It's an ancient demonic array created by the evil soul demonic emperor in the primordial era, Qin Yu said with a faint smile. The dark demon evil dragon's huge dragon eyes suddenly widened. Looking at Qin Yu's appearance, could it be that there really was a way to help it escape? Junior, if you can break this array, I can give you a heaven-defying opportunity. You can rise to the top and even dominate this great world. The dark demon evil dragon struggled as a vast dragon aura surged from its body, causing the void to tremble violently. Junior? Qin Yu smiled faintly. He knew that the dark demon evil dragon was different from the primal chaos dragon ancestor he had encountered in the heaven region. If he wanted to subdue the powerful dragon race in the heavenly ethereal realm, he had to use special method. Before he finished speaking, a vast and immortal divine aura surged from Qin Yu's body. That divine aura also contained the invincible dragon aura. It was terrifying. The dark demon evil dragon's eyes, which had been filled with hope and excitement, suddenly turned pale with fright. It was as if the two people in front of it weren't two calamity realm experts, but a supreme dragon god from the primordial era who could control all dragons in the world. Submit to me and give me your origin dragon blood. Then I can take you away from here. Qin Yu said faintly. His voice was indifferent and majestic. There was no room for doubt. Origin dragon blood? The dark demon evil dragon's expression changed again. For the dragon race, once they lost their origin dragon blood, they would be crippled. Chapter 773. Offering your dragon origin blood will only prove your loyalty. You don't have to worry about your origin being damaged. In fact, you'll become even stronger than before. Qin Yu could see the dark demon evil dragon's hesitation, so he spoke in a neither light nor heavy tone. As he spoke, chaos draconic aura spread out behind Qin Yu, forming a chaotic world. A primal chaos ancestor dragon sat cross-legged in the chaotic world. Golden fire dragons roared, and purple lightning dragons floated, exuding a vast and boundless aura. These dragons are all dragons that have submitted to me. After they offered their dragon origin blood, their dragon bloodline became even stronger. Qin Yu spoke again when he saw the dark demon evil dragon staring at the three great dragon races in the primal chaos dragon realm in shock. Who exactly are you? The dark demon evil dragon asked after a long time. He could tell that even though the chaos progenitor dragon and the other two dragon tribes were pitifully weak, the ripples of the dragon bloodline they were emitting were extremely powerful. The chosen one who received the dragon god's inheritance will lead the dragon race to peak immortal in the future. Qin Yu's expression is solemn, as if he is serious. In fact, the war dragon immortal king who'd inherited his legacy was an existence that made the entire dragon race tremble. To the dragon race, the war dragon immortal king was even more evil and terrifying than the abyssal demons. The dark demon evil dragon pondered. He was still skeptical of Qin Yu's words. After all, Qin Yu's conditions were too harsh. He wanted his dragon origin blood. You'd rather have your bloodline completely extracted by this formation until your soul dissipates than take the gamble? Qin Yu revealed a cold smile as he pointed out the dark demon evil dragon's situation. No matter how powerful the dark demon evil dragon used to be, it was now a prisoner. If Qin Yu didn't act, the dark demon evil dragon would die without a doubt. Although the dark demon evil dragon had concealed itself very well, Qin Yu could still sense that the dark demon evil dragon's dragon soul had been suppressed by the pitch-black altar. Once the divine chains on the black altar completely sealed it, the dark demon evil dragon would be refined by the evil soul formation in an instant. At that time, the dark demon evil dragon's soul would be destroyed. The dark demon evil dragon's huge eyes rippled intensely. He was very clear about his own situation. Just as Qin Yu had said, if he did not take this gamble, he would definitely die. While the dark demon evil dragon was pondering, Qin Yu and the dragon soul's expressions changed slightly. The restrictions they had set up in the divine battle palace had been triggered. Did this mean that an enemy had invaded? Do you choose to believe us, or do you choose to die here? Think carefully. Qin Yu exchanged a glance with the dragon soul, then turned to the dark demon evil dragon and used the Earth Escape Talisman to escape from this underground world. Right now, the upper echelons of the War God Palace were all in seclusion. If an enemy were to invade at this moment, the people of the war race would definitely not be able to fight against them. Although Qin Yu did not possess a deep friendship with the war clan, with Zhang Wuji present, he could not allow the war clan to suffer a calamity of extermination. When Qin Yu and the dragon soul returned to the battle tribe, the entire battle tribe was tense and solemn. The ancient restrictions that the battle tribe had set up in the mountain range had all been destroyed. Tens of thousands of people appeared in the sky above the mountain range. Those people were all at the heavenly venerate realm. Their cultivation was extremely terrifying. The people leading them were all at the Sky Saint realm. At a glance, there were more than a few hundred of them. In front of those people was a huge ancient war chariot. It was completely golden and seemed to be made of gold. It gave off a dazzling golden light, and its aura was vast and boundless. It carried a supreme killing intent. What was even more shocking was that the golden war chariot was pulled by 7 red fire dragons. The 7 red fire dragons were all at the peak of the heavenly venerate realm. Their ferocious auras were monstrous and filled the sky. There were 3 people on the golden war chariot. Their auras shook the 9 heavens. The pressure was so strong that it made it hard for people to breathe. It was as if 3 ancient gods had descended to the world. It was extremely terrifying. Obviously, the 3 people were at the heavenly god realm. In the entire battle tribe, Zhan Wuqiong was the only heavenly god realm elite. However, the 3 heavenly gods had led hundreds of sky saints and tens of thousands of heavenly venerates to attack the battle tribe. It was clear that they were planning to completely erase the entire war clan. Fortunately, Zhan Wuqiong and the others had left a backup plan before they went into seclusion. A towering ancient formation shrouded the entire battle tribe. The ancient array gave off an ancient aura as if it had existed since the ancient times. It was filled with the supreme fluctuations of time. Young Master Qin, we have finally found you. There are strong enemies invading. The two of you should quickly go to the ancestral hall. There is a teleportation formation there. You can leave immediately. Qin Yu and Long Hun had just appeared when they were found by the people of the battle tribe. Who are those people? Qin Yu and Long Hun did not take refuge. Instead, they asked. They are from the ancient demon sacred ground. They usually stay out of our way. Who would have thought that they would suddenly invade without any warning? The person of the battle tribe said with a solemn expression. The people who were invading this time were much more terrifying than the previous time. Even if Zhan Wuqiong came out of seclusion, he would not be able to do anything. The difference between the two sides was too big. Young Master Qin, it is too dangerous here. You should leave quickly. The person of the battle tribe was grateful to Qin Yu and Long Hun for sending back the inheritance of the old ancestor of the battle tribe. He did not want them to be involved in this life and death situation. You guys are lacking in manpower now. I am skilled in the Tao of formations. I can help you guys. Qin Yu smiled. He began to carefully inspect that ancient divine array that covered the sky and covered the earth. From the ancient array, Qin Yu could not only sense the aura of Zhan Wuji, but also the energy ripples of the yin-yang god. Skilled in the Tao of formations? The person of the battle tribe wanted to say something. At this moment, the tens of thousands of cultivators gathered outside the array had already joined forces. There were tens of thousands of heavenly venerables and hundreds of sky sages. The battle strength that they could unleash was terrifying. The boundless heavenly yuan energy was like a tsunami that came crashing down from the sky. Although the ancient array was emitting a bright and ancient divine light, it was still unable to withstand the terrifying killing aura. It started to tremble violently. The shock waves even penetrated the ancient array and affected the people of the battle tribe. Many of the weaker people of the battle tribe were sent flying while vomiting blood. Let me do it. Looking at the people of the battle tribe, who were in a hurry to activate the array, Qin Yu flew into the sky and took control of the ancient array. The people of the battle tribe were unable to unleash the power of such an array. It was a waste of resources. Chapter 1. Chapter 774. Formation, Rise. After controlling the formation, Qin Yu flew into the sky and shouted. The pure immortal qi in his body turned into vast energy and flowed into the ancient formation. At this moment, the ancient formation was like an ancient ferocious beast that had just woken up from a deep slumber. It emitted a ferocious aura that shook the heavens and the earth. The moment the divine array was activated, billions of dazzling rays of divine light spread out like a blazing sun that illuminated the 9 heavens. Wherever the divine light passed, the void trembled. Tens of thousands of heavenly venerables and hundreds of quintessential saints joined forces to launch a destructive attack. However, the divine light easily annihilated them and turned them into ashes. Who the hell is he? How can he activate the formation left by our ancestor? The people of the war tribe were shocked and in disbelief when they saw the fully awakened heaven-battling divine formation. The reason why the war tribe had been hiding in their ancestral land was not only because of the ancestors of the war tribe, but also because of the existence of the heaven-battling divine formation. The formation was set up by Zhan Wuji himself. It was said that if one could comprehend the formation, they would be able to obtain the inheritance left behind by the ancestors of the war tribe. Unfortunately, after the bloodline of the war tribe was sealed, no one from the war tribe was able to control the heaven-battling divine formation. Even Zhan Wuqiong could barely activate the formation to increase his battle strength. However, he could not fully awaken the power of the formation like Qin Yu. He is not from the war tribe. Who is he? The 3 heavenly gods on the golden chariot looked down at the battle from above. When they saw Qin Yu, they raised their eyebrows. Before they came, they already knew the details of the people of the war tribe. However, they did not know anything about Qin Yu. Could it be that Qin Yu was the trump card that the war tribe had been hiding? The power of the formation is terrifying. Even if these juniors can break it, they will have to pay a heavy price. After sizing them up a few times, a man on the left side of the three spoke calmly. He wore a purple-gold robe and was surrounded by a purple aura. His aura was vast and boundless. It has been so long, but Zhan Wuqiong still hasn't shown himself. It seems like the rumors are true. He is probably trying to break through to the heavenly ethereal realm. I can't wait any longer. On the right side of the three, the young man who looked to be in his early 20s was wearing blood-red clothes and carrying a huge blood-red sword on his back. His entire body was emitting a dense bloody stench. He licked his lips and spoke with a bloodthirsty look in his eyes. Since that's the case, let's do it. At the center of the three, the old man with a crown on his head and a dragon robe on his body spoke slowly. His eyes were filled with the aura of an emperor. His voice was like thunder that shook the 9 heavens. Qi La. As soon as he finished speaking, the blood-red clothed young man took the lead and charged out. As he charged out, the blood-red sword on his back transformed into a ferocious blood-red beast. It leaped into the air, and a murderous aura swept out. Blood Fiend Patriarch. When the people from the war clan saw the crimson-clothed young man who had attacked, their expressions all changed drastically. This blood demon ancestor was someone who possessed an overflowing ferocious might within a circumference of hundreds of millions of miles. The blood demon ancestor was a blood cultivator, and he used blood to cultivate the evil path. He had killed his way to the heavenly god realm. Wherever he went, there would be a great loss of life, and countless lives would be sacrificed. Even among the heavenly gods of the same level, the blood demon ancestor was one of the top existences. He could even fight against those who were of a higher level than him. He had once fought against a heavenly ethereal realm expert. Chi. The huge blood-red beast that was formed by the blood-red sword rushed to the front of the deity array. It opened its mouth and spat out billions of blood-red sword rays. Each ray was filled with a destructive sword aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth. Those blood-red sword rays condensed and burst out like a torrential flood. Even a peak heavenly god realm expert would lose his life if he faced this attack. Divine treasure? Qin Yu's eyes flashed. The blood-red sword was able to release such a destructive divine aura without the help of the blood demon ancestor's cultivation. This was definitely not something a holy treasure could do. In the world of 10 directions, spiritual weapons were divided into spiritual treasures, holy treasures, divine treasures, and immortal treasures. Immortal treasures were legendary Dao weapons. Only the Almighty in Shinran or the immortal orthodoxies that had been rumored to have them for thousands of years could have them. Therefore, whether it was in the Void Zone or the world of 10 directions, divine treasures were definitely the top spiritual weapons. Break. Of course, Qin Yu, who controlled the heaven-battling deity array with his supreme immortal qi, was not afraid at all. He shouted in a low voice. Dazzling divine light in the heaven-battling deity array formed a huge seal. The seal was as big as a mountain and contained immortal divine aura that could crush all worlds. The blood-red sword ray and the huge seal made of divine light met in an instant. A destructive shockwave exploded from the two. Even the void boiled violently and was faintly distorted. However, the outcome of the confrontation between the two was quickly decided. The huge seal made of divine light seemed to bear the power of thousands of years of mountains and rivers. It was incomparably heavy. It forcefully crushed the blood-red sword ray. The divine light seal's power did not diminish. It carried an invincible divine aura and pressed forward. The blood-red beast that was formed by the blood-red sword roared ferociously and suddenly rushed out. The two fought in the void, turning this part of the world into a battlefield of destruction. That scene shocked the people of the war tribe and the cultivators of the ancient demon's sacred ground. The shock wave from the collision between the divine treasure and the divine array was enough to completely annihilate them. The existence of the heavenly god realm was indeed unfathomable. They were not at the same level as them. This divine array is actually so terrifying. At this moment, the blood demon ancestor and the other two heavenly gods were also extremely shocked. They were extremely clearly aware of how terrifying the baleful blood-devouring demon sword was. Even an ordinary heavenly god would be directly torn to shreds by it. But now, merely the divine light of the majestic divine formation was enough to resist the bloodlust-devouring demon sword. Such power was simply frightening. Blood sword shaking the Milky Way. With a flash of blood-red light, the blood demon ancestor personally took action. He stretched out his hand and held the blood-red sword that was reformed. An extremely strong true yuan burst forth. After merging with the boundless blood demon origin, the killing power of the blood demon devouring sword became even more terrifying. With a slash of the sword, a deep Milky Way was formed. Within the Milky Way, endless starlight fell. Every ray of divine light contained destructive sword power. At this moment, all of them were unleashed. The divine power was too terrifying. It could easily annihilate a part of the world. This was an archaic killing secret skill. In the past, it had caused endless slaughter. Now that it had reappeared in the world, it showed how much importance the blood demon ancestor attached to the heaven-battling divine array. Qin Yu's expression was indifferent. With a thought, a huge vortex appeared above the heaven-battling divine array. The vortex was pitch black and deep. It was like a black hole that could devour the myriad of worlds. The endless starlight that fell was devoured by the pitch-black vortex. The cultivation of the two disappeared without a trace. There was no movement at all. This secret skill was the Heavenly War Emperor transformation of the three emperors. Chapter 77. Chapter 775. Ever since he left the Heaven region, Qin Yu had not used the three emperors' superpower. However, this did not mean that the three emperors' superpower was useless in the Ten-Corner world. Strictly speaking, the three emperors' superpower was a secret skill of the origin. It was a secret skill that could not be judged by its grade. This was because the power of the three emperors' superpower was determined by the cultivation of the host. The stronger the host was, the more terrifying the power of the superpower would be. For example, Qin Yu could not use the sky-devouring dragon seal when he controlled the divine array. Hence, he could only use the All Heavens War Emperor transformation to create the sky-devouring dragon seal. Although it was not as powerful as the real sky-devouring dragon seal. However, under the vast divine power of the All Heavens War divine array, it could still devour the blood evil ancestor's secret killing skill. This made Qin Yu exclaim. Under the suppression of the Heaven region, the three emperors could still study such a secret skill. If they came to the Ten-Corner world, where there were so many experts, they would be able to do well. They might even run into each other one day. How can this be? Seeing this, the murderous blood evil ancestor was stunned. He could not believe it. The man in the purple and gold robe and the old man with the crown were also stunned. He could devour the blood evil ancestor's secret killing skill so easily. This was something that even they would find difficult to accomplish. How did this Qin Yu accomplish it? I'll give it back to you. After devouring the blood evil ancestor's secret killing skill, Qin Yu changed his hands. In an instant, a vast galaxy appeared above the heads of the blood evil ancestor and the other two without any warning. Countless killing starlight covered the blood evil ancestor and the other two like a meteor shower. The destructive killing sword essence burst out and swept across, shaking the nine heavens. Oh no! This is a space superpower. The blood evil ancestor and the other two were shocked and tried to defend themselves. This sudden turn of events was not something they had expected. The blood-evil ancestor roared. The blood-red greatsword was like a demon, emitting a dazzling blood-red light. The sword light clashed against the sword light. As they clashed, sparks flew everywhere. The purple golden-robed man took out an ancient divine cauldron that was carved with profound and ancient divine runes. It was mysterious and unfathomable, and it was filled with an extraordinary aura. This was an ancient secret treasure. It was a sacred treasure used by a former celestial emperor before he proved his Tao. Although it had not reached the level of a divine treasure, it had supreme defensive abilities. The old man with the crown on his head formed a seal with both his hands. Dragon aura surged from his body, causing his aura to soar endlessly. He was like a supreme emperor that ruled over the 9 heavens. After the vast dragon chi boiled, it formed the head of an ancestral dragon. It was vivid and lifelike, and its dragon might was vast and immortal. Puff! Although the 3 of them had managed to block the destructive sword light, their auras had become weak and chaotic. It seemed that they had consumed quite a bit of their energy. However, just as they stopped, their expressions changed drastically, and they immediately turned their heads to look. A pitch-black vortex had appeared in the sky above the tens of thousands of heavenly demon venerables. Hundreds of millions of destructive sword lights swept across like a tornado. The sound of flesh being pierced and destroyed rang out continuously. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the tens of thousands of heavenly venerables and hundreds of heavenly saints from the ancient demon sacred ground had been killed. The blood-evil ancestors' killing divine skill was not something that the heavenly venerables and heavenly saints could withstand. It can't be right? Seeing that more than half of the ancient demon sacred ground's powerhouses had been killed in an instant, the people from the war clan were dumbfounded. They knew that if the heaven-battling divine array was activated, it would erupt with an unparalleled killing force. However, they did not expect the array's power to be so shocking. The blood-evil ancestor had killed tens of thousands of heavenly venerables and hundreds of heavenly saints all by himself. If news of this spread, it would shock many people. "Little bastard, I'll kill you!" Seeing that the ancient demon's sacred ground had suffered so many casualties, the blood-evil ancestor flew into a rage. His body flashed with blood-red light, and the void behind him suddenly exploded, forming a vast sea of blood. In the vast sea of blood, a mountain-like blood-colored giant walked through the air with a bloody sword in his hand. His divine aura was vast and mighty. This was an ancient divine skill that used boundless blood-evil ancestor as a catalyst to form an ancient blood demon. This ancient blood demon was said to be indestructible. Once it was born, it would cause endless slaughter. The man in the purple gold robe and the old man with the crown looked extremely sinister, and their killing intent was thick. The man in the purple gold robe held a divine cauldron, and his body flashed with purple gold divine light, as if there was a purple gold sun around him. He exuded an invincible heavenly might that seemed to be able to crush all the worlds in the universe. In the purple gold sun, an ancient demon ape was formed. The ancient demon ape had the head of a human and the body of an ape. It roared at the sky, and a murderous aura filled the air, as well as a soul-shaking demonic might. This was the ancient demon sacred ground's secret skill. If one comprehended it thoroughly, they could form a supreme ancient demon. Looking at the ancient demon ape, it had already revealed its head. Obviously, the man in the purple gold robe had cultivated it to a high level, and it was very likely that he would be able to form an ancient demon in the future. The old man with the crown let out a dragon roar that shook the heavens. After the head of the ancestral dragon devoured the dragon chi, it completely formed an ancient Shinran. Boundless dragon might shook the 9 heavens. The old man with the crown was called Patriarch Ancient Dragon, and he was the most senior person in the ancient demon sacred ground. To a certain extent, the ancient demon sacred ground was under his control. After seeing that the ancient demon sacred ground had suffered heavy losses, Patriarch Ancient Dragon and the old man were truly enraged. They used a powerful killing divine skill to kill Qin Yu. Dragon Chi? Unbeknownst to them, Qin Yu looked at the ancient Shinran formed by Patriarch Ancient Dragon, and his eyes lit up. He was pleasantly surprised. That was because he could sense a dense aura of the Dragon Clan from the Ancient Dragon Patriarch. It was obvious that Patriarch Ancient Dragon had refined dragon blood before, or he had obtained the dragon inheritance. He had just discovered the dark demon Evil Dragon, and now he could sense the fluctuation of Dragon Chi. This made Qin Yu, who urgently needed to increase his cultivation, very happy. Kill! The Blood Evil Patriarch roared, and took the initiative to attack. The mountain-like primordial blood demon held a giant sword and crossed the void. With a slash of the sword, a river of blood appeared in the sky. It was formed by the blood-red sword light, and it contained the power to destroy heaven and earth. This time, Patriarch Blood Evil used his strongest move. He was absolutely confident that he could destroy the devouring black hole with a single slash. Go! The man in the purple-gold robe followed closely. After a low roar, he formed a seal with both hands and shot out a ray of light. Within the purple-gold sun, the ancient demon ape with the head of a human and the body of an ape roared and rushed out. It was like a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood as it rushed toward the heaven-battling divine array. The purple-gold sun was held in its hands, and the terrifying pressure it was brewing became even more terrifying. It made people's hair stand on end. Suppress. Patriarch Ancient Dragon's movements were not slow at all. Dragon Chi surged from his body as he stood on the ancient Shinran. He was like an ancient god that had descended to the world to suppress all enemies. Chapter 776. The three heavenly gods teamed up and unleashed a secret technique that could destroy the world. The monstrous and terrifying murderous aura was like three primeval gods of death that had descended to the world, and they intended to obliterate everything in the world. In an instant, the space within a few thousand miles around the God of War palace started to boil violently. It was like boiling water that was filled with destructive ripples. With such might, I'm afraid it's sufficient to stand shoulder to shoulder with a heavenly ethereal stage expert. The rumors are true. The three ancestors of the ancient demon's sacred ground are comparable to a heavenly ethereal realm master. Even if Lord Qin can control the heaven-battling divine array, he won't be able to defeat the three ancestors of the ancient demon's sacred ground. If Lord Qin can't defeat them, we won't be able to escape. The people from the War clan were all dumbstruck and incomparably shocked as they looked at the calamitous scene that seemed like the end of the world. There was unconcealable panic and despair on their faces. The blood demon ancestor, the ancient dragon ancestor, and the man in the purple and gold robe were infamous even in the entire Xingzhou. Unless they encountered a heavenly ethereal realm master, the three ancestors had never teamed up to fight against a cultivator of the same level. However, they had never thought that Qin Yu, who was only in the Calamity realm, would be able to force the three ancestors to join forces with just an ancient array. If this news were to spread, many people would be shocked. At this moment, the eyes of Qin Yu, who was facing the joint attack of the three great ancestors by himself, were as tranquil as an ancient well without the slightest change. The three ancestors were indeed comparable to a heavenly ethereal realm master when they teamed up. However, they were only comparable to a heavenly ethereal realm master. Moreover, with the heaven-battling divine array, even if a heavenly ethereal realm master were to come, Qin Yu would not be afraid. The heaven-battling divine array not only contained the power of Zhan Wuji, but also the power of the Yin-Yang god. Ancient spirit of the god of war. With a thought, Qin Yu's pure and mysterious celestial force surged out of his body and entered the array core of the heaven-battling divine array. Immediately, a fighting spirit that shook the 9 heavens surged. It was as if millions of gods and demons had awakened and were about to conquer the world. The world shook and the universe sank. Chi. Chi. In the next moment, numerous dazzling and resplendent rays of divine light shattered space like a myriad of dazzling sharp swords, and they shot out explosively towards the surroundings. They were innumerable and covered the heavens and the earth. Not good. The faces of the three ancestors of the ancient demon Holy Land, who had joined forces to cast a powerful forbidden technique, changed drastically at this moment. Their hairs stood on end. Patriarch Bloodfiend, who was the closest, was the first to be hit. The blood-colored giant wielding a blood-colored greatsword was as huge as a mountain, and it slashed out a blood-red color in the void. The moment they came into contact with the divine light, they were immediately pierced and annihilated, turning into a bloody mist that dissipated. The two were on completely different levels. Pucci, blood-evil ancestor's body shook violently. His face turned pale and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. That blood-colored giant was formed from his blood essence and boundless blood fiendish chi. Now that the blood-colored giant was annihilated, the blood fiend elder naturally suffered a huge backlash. Rumble. Following that, a series of deafening explosions rang out, accompanied by the indignant roars of beasts that shook the 9 heavens. It was the ancient demon ape that the purple golden-robed man had transformed into. It was also crushed by the divine light. Even the ancient cauldron in the purple golden-robed man's hand had cracks all over it. It was obviously on the verge of collapse. Kill. Only Patriarch Ancient Dragon, whose body was surging with dragon chi and who was standing on the immemorial Shinran, used an extremely mysterious movement technique to dodge the thousands of destructive divine light and rush to the front of the heaven-battling divine formation. Seeing the miserable state of Patriarch Blood Fiend and the purple golden-robed man, Patriarch Ancient Dragon couldn't hide the shock in his eyes. Obviously, he didn't expect that the joint force of the three of them would be so easily broken by Qin in an instant. Of course, since he was already in front of him, Patriarch Ancient Dragon naturally wouldn't stop there. His roar was like thunder, shaking all living things. Along with the loud dragon roar, Patriarch Ancient Dragon's entire body merged with the immemorial Shinran under his feet. The two perfectly merged into one, as if the Shinran that had dominated the primordial age had come into being. It had boundless dragon power and endless killing intent. Just in time. Seeing this, Qin revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth. The reason why Patriarch Ancient Dragon could rush to the front of the heaven-battling divine formation wasn't because of how powerful his movement technique was. It was because Qin had deliberately let him get to the front. To Qin, such a surging and majestic dragon chi was simply a great tonic. There was no reason for him to miss it. Appear. As Qin shouted, the terrifying aura that was emitted from the heaven-battling divine formation, as if hundreds of millions of demon gods had awakened, became even more shocking and terrifying. As the void rippled, a 10-foot-tall battle spirit wearing black heavy armor and holding a heaven-battling halberd appeared. Its entire body was filled with ancient fighting intent. Whoosh! The ancient battle spirit seemed to have its own intelligence. After appearing, without waiting for Qin order, it automatically rushed out. With a flash of divine light, the halberd in the ancient battle spirit's hand shuttled through the void and pierced through Patriarch Ancient Dragon, who had transformed into a primordial battle dragon. The thick dragon chi barrier around Patriarch Ancient Dragon was completely defenseless. It couldn't resist at all, and blood splattered everywhere. Mysterious battle runes spread out from the halberd and instantly spread all over Patriarch Ancient Dragon's body. Patriarch Ancient Dragon struggled violently, sometimes transforming into a dragon, sometimes into a human, and sometimes into a mist. However, he still couldn't break free from the seal of the battle runes. How could? Patriarch Ancient Dragon was severely injured in one move? What is the origin of that figure? Whether it was the battle tribe or the ancient demon Holy Land, they were all stunned by this scene. In a radius of hundreds of millions of miles, the ruler of the ancient demon sacred ground, Patriarch Ancient Dragon, had been suppressed in an instant. Even though they had seen it with their own eyes, they still found it hard to believe. Oh no! Run! When Patriarch Ancient Dragon was in trouble, Patriarch Blood Evil and the purple golden-robed man who had suffered the backlash narrowed their eyes. They had no intention of helping and turned around to escape. The ancient battle spirit in front of them was several times more terrifying than the divine light of destruction. They couldn't even withstand the divine light, so how could they deal with the ancient battle spirit with monstrous combat power? Only death awaited them if they didn't escape. However, Qin Yu had already seen through Patriarch Blood Evil and the purple golden-robed man's intentions. His eyes were cold as he pointed his finger in the air. Two black and white lights broke through the air from the ancient battle spirit. It was the yin-yang divine power left behind by the yin-yang divine lord. Even the ancestral demon body that was strong enough to dominate the void region and even conquer all the worlds was suppressed by the yin-yang divine lord. Patriarch Blood Evil and the purple golden-robed man, who were only heaven ultimate gods, naturally couldn't resist and were easily bound by the yin-yang divine light before being crushed and annihilated. Refine. As for Patriarch Ancient Dragon, Qin Yu did not hold back and directly swallowed the sealed Patriarch Ancient Dragon with his sky-devouring dragon seal. The majestic dragon aura contained in his body was completely extracted and poured into the chaotic dragon realm to be refined by the chaotic ancestral dragon and the other two dragon clans. In the blink of an eye, the ancient demon sacred grounds patriarch had completely lost his life. The whole place was dead silent. Chapter 777. The three old ancestors are all in the death realm. How is this possible? The war tribe has already fallen. How can they still have such a strong foundation? It's over. The ancient demon sacred grounds foundation of 10,000 years is over. When the survivors of the ancient demon sacred ground saw that the three ancestors had died, their faces turned pale. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Of course, those who reacted quickly had already run away. Since the three ancestors had died, they would be digging their own graves if they continued to stay. With someone taking the lead, the others followed suit and fled in all directions. The people of the war race who had obtained a complete victory didn't chase after them. When Blood Fiend Patriarch and the other two patriarchs were still around, the ancient demon Holy Land was the most powerful force in the billions of worlds. Countless forces had been destroyed or suppressed by them. Now that the three ancestors had died, those forces would definitely retaliate. Without the three great ancestors, they were naturally of no use to the large forces that hired them, so they could not help them. Even if the war tribe did not chase after them, the ancient demon sacred ground would be in a terrible situation. They might even be destroyed. Of course, before Zhan Wuqiong and the others came out of seclusion, the war tribe would not dare to leave the protection of the heavenly battling divine array. Qin Yu stopped controlling the divine array. The ancient battle spirit turned into specks of light and merged into the heavenly battling divine array. Qin Yu flew down and ignored the war tribe members who were cheering for him. He went back to his residence. The war tribe members thought that Qin Yu was injured. Although they were worried, they did not dare to disturb him. They just stood guard outside the door. At this moment, Qin Yu directly dove into the depths of the ground and arrived before the ancient ruins once again. How is it? Have you made your decision? Qin Yu looked at the dark demon Evil Dragon and asked coldly. The evil array was obviously set up by someone with evil intentions to deal with the people who controlled the war tribe. The most likely culprit was the War God Temple created by Nangong backing. The War God Temple would soon know about the result of the battle. There would be a bigger storm and the heavenly ethereal realm experts would come. Even if the war tribe had the heavenly battling divine array, it would not be able to deal with the War God Temple. Therefore, before that, Qin Yu had to strengthen his own cultivation. He had already sensed that the strength of the heaven-battling divine formation was based on the cultivation level of the controller. If it weren't for the pure immortal force inside Qin Yu's body, he would not have been able to kill progenitor Ancient Dragon and his crew so easily with the heaven-battling god formation. The dark demon Evil Dragon, who had lost a lot of energy after giving away its origin dragon blood, was shocked when he saw that Qin Yu, who was only at the middle stage of the Calamity Realm, had reached the peak of the Calamity Realm in such a short time and was even trying to break through to the Heavenly Venerate Realm. His huge dragon eyes narrowed. Although he did not think much of the Calamity Realm, it did not mean that he could remain calm after seeing such a shocking breakthrough speed. Even when the Dragon Clan had awakened their bloodline, it was difficult to achieve such a terrifying speed. This was simply insane. If all human cultivators were so terrifying, all the clans in the universe would have been destroyed long ago. While Qin Yu was undergoing the wind, fire, and lightning tribulations, the Dragon Soul, Primal Chaos Ancestor Dragon, Golden Flame Heaven Incinerating Dragon, and Purple Lightning Divine Cloud Dragon were also frantically refining the Dark Demon Evil Dragon's origin dragon blood. With the help of Qin Yu's dragon blood and spiritual treasures, the Primal Chaos Ancestor Dragon and the other two dragon clans' cultivation had reached the peak of the Calamity Realm. The Dragon Soul's cultivation had also reached the Heavenly Venerate Realm. For the Dragon Soul that had awakened the immortal Shinran bloodline, the tribulations did not exist. To a certain extent, the Dragon Soul was the same as Qin Yu. As long as it had dragon blood, it could continue to advance. It was even more terrifying than Qin Yu. It was not restricted by the human race's breakthrough at all. Of course, before the Dragon Soul could absorb the dragon blood, Qin Yu had to refine the dragon blood with the immemorial battle dragon art before it could absorb it. Rumble! Amidst the deafening sounds of explosions, Qin Yu, who was covered by the sky full of thunderbolts, destructive hurricanes and berserk raging flames, underwent a complete transformation. His body's blood qi was vast and boundless, enough to shake the heavens. His martial arts realm had reached the Heavenly Venerate Realm from the Calamity Realm. The vast heaven's origin qi in his body was more than 100 times stronger than before. His combat strength had also increased by several levels. With Qin Yu's current cultivation, even without external help, he could crush people of the same level as him. He could rival Heavenly Venerates and fight against Heavenly Venerate. If he had other means to help him, he could even fight against a Heavenly Ethereal Realm expert. It's about time to return to the fire domain. After the tribulations, Qin Yu, whose cultivation had reached the mid-Heavenly Venerate Realm, opened his eyes. Chapter 778. Not only was there an ancient emperor's legacy in the Blaze Realm, but there was also a dragon in the Fire God Palace. When he went to the Fire Domain and obtained the inheritance of that great emperor, as well as the dragon clan of the Fire God Palace, Qin Yu's cultivation level would increase by several levels. At that time, he would be able to find Star Luo and save his master. Of course, with Qin Yu's current strength, even if he had to face Star Luo, he wouldn't be afraid. After all, he had the ancestral demon's body, which was a great weapon. However, just in case, Qin Yu thought it would be better to deal with the Blaze Realm first before going to find Star Luo. After all, even now, Qin Yu still didn't know who Star Luo was. When Qin Yu refined the Dark Demon Evil Dragon's origin dragon blood, his cultivation base skyrocketed. Nangong Backing, who was sitting cross-legged in the center of the Holy Continent and surrounded by divine light in the Temple of Glory, suddenly opened his eyes. The seal on the Dark Demon Evil Dragon has been broken? Nangong Backing rose to his feet, unable to hide the shock in his eyes. The evil formation that sealed the Dark Demon Evil Dragon was something that even he couldn't break easily. If he could completely refine the Dark Demon Evil Dragon, he would be able to activate the evil formation and take complete control of the battle race. This was why Nangong Backing had secretly sent people to trap the battle race in the battle race's ancestral land. But who would have thought that the dark demon evil dragon would break free just as his plan was about to succeed? Who had interfered in the dark? Sect Master! At this moment, the void trembled, and a figure appeared like a ghost and bowed respectfully. It was a man dressed in ancient heavy armor. He was nearly 5 meters tall and extremely muscular, like an ancient giant. Just by standing there, he exuded a monstrous aura that could suppress one's soul. "Is there news from the ancient demon sacred land?" Nangong Backing asked. When he sensed that the battle race's bloodline was showing signs of awakening, Nangong Backing had secretly ordered the ancient demon sacred land, a subordinate force of the war god Hall, to attack the battle race with all their strength. He wanted to know if the battle race was hiding any trump cards. Calculating the time, it was about time for the results to be out. The news has just spread. The 3 old ancestors of the ancient demon Holy Land have all fallen in the war clan's ancestral land. More than half of the people from the ancient demon Holy Land are either dead or injured. The rest have all fled for their lives. The ancient demon Holy Land has been annihilated by the 5 great ancient clans. The giant-like heavy-armored man said. Who did it? The bewilderment in Nangong Backing's eyes deepened. As expected, there were still strong cultivators hiding in the battle clan. He wondered if the dark demon evil dragon's escape was related to them. It said that a mysterious young man controlled the battle clan's battle heaven's divine array and killed the 3 ancestors of the ancient devil Holy Land. It seems like the battle clan's higher echelons are all in seclusion because of that young man. The heavily armored man said in a deep voice. Qin Yu had suddenly appeared in the war tribe. Even the spies that the war god palace had planted in the war tribe did not know his origins. However, the series of changes in the war tribe definitely had something to do with Qin Yu. I wanted to use the evil soul demonic array to control the people of the war tribe and learn about the inheritance that Master had left behind. However, the evil soul demonic array has been broken and my plan has failed. We have to act now. Nangong Backing fell into deep thought after hearing the news. A ruthless look appeared in his eyes. Since they could not control the people of the war tribe silently, they could only use force to suppress them. As for the deaths of the 3 old ancestors of the ancient demon Holy Land, Nangong Backing did not care. The war god palace could summon puppets of that level at any time. Of course, this time, they could not send people of the ancient demon Holy Land's level. They had already alerted the enemy. Now they had to use force to suppress them. The evil soul demonic array has been broken? How is that possible? There shouldn't be anyone in the war tribe who can break the evil soul demonic array. The heavily armored man exclaimed when he heard the news. In order to break the evil soul demonic array, one would need to be at the peak of the heavenly ethereal stage at the very least. If the war tribe still had such a heavenly ethereal stage expert, they wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state, hiding in their ancestral land and not daring to come out. After all, the war tribe is my master's descendant. No one knows what kind of foundation they have. However, it doesn't matter. Go inform the heavenly spirits and earthly fiends to go to the war tribe. Apart from the 10 direct descendants, kill the rest. The strongest expert in the war god palace was, of course, Nangong Backing. However, Nangong Backing could not directly attack the war tribe. If he did, he would definitely leave a target for the Void Domain forces. Nangong Backing, who wanted to unify the Void Domain in the future, would not personally attack unless it was absolutely necessary. After all, after the great battle hundreds of years ago, less than 10% of the Void Domain experts had survived, and they were at the bottom of the Great Spirit World. However, the hidden experts of the Void Domain were still not to be underestimated. If Nangong Backing wanted to recruit everyone like Zhang Wuji had done in the past, He had to have a righteous reason. Of course, given the War God Palace's foundation, they naturally had more than just these experts. Among the many experts the War God Palace had recruited, there were those who specialized in dark and bloody matters. Yes, master. Upon receiving the order, the heavily armored man understood that Nangong Backing was going to kill them, and immediately left. After all, the heavenly spirits and earthly fiends were the two sharpest blades in the War God Palace. Over the years, the War God Palace had taken care of countless forces that openly and covertly opposed them, and had never failed. Even many of the War God Palace's grand elders feared the heavenly spirits and earthly fiends, and did not dare to provoke them. Master, don't blame me for not being righteous. It's your fault for not passing on your mantle to me back then. Nangong Backing's eyes flickered with a sinister light. He had been stuck at this cultivation base for hundreds of years. If he wanted to make a breakthrough, he would have to obtain his master's legacy. Only by reaching his master's level would he be able to do whatever he wanted in the void domain, or even the great spirit world, and not have to worry about this and that like now. In the War Tribe, boom! In an ancient secret chamber covered in ancient spiritual runes that sealed the entire void. A figure suddenly opened his eyes, and a destructive aura swept out like a hurricane, causing the chamber to tremble and space to distort. Bloodline completely awakened. Ha 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 ha. A burst of joyful laughter rang out, and it was like a thunderclap that shook heaven and earth. It was extremely shocking. This person was Zhan Wuqiong, who had gone into secluded cultivation after obtaining Zhan Wuji's legacy. Such a scene played out in the various secluded cultivation places of the war race. For the members of the war race, the complete awakening of their bloodline meant that their cultivation bases would no longer be restricted, and they would be able to return to their peak. The overall battle strength of the war race would soar by several levels. One day, the war race would regain their former glory. As their bloodline awakened, the experts of the war race came out of secluded cultivation one after another. Soon, Zhan Wuqiong and the others learned that the ancient demon sacred land had invaded, and Qin Yu had killed them. Zhan Wuqiong wanted to personally visit Qin Yu to thank him, but he could only give up when he saw no response. While the entire war race was immersed in great joy, they did not know that danger was quietly approaching. Chapter 779. In the ancient ruins, Qin Yu had refined the dragon's blood and made a breakthrough. He had then used a secret technique to bring the dark demon Evil Dragon into the chaotic dragon realm. Now, there were 4 dragon clans in the chaotic dragon realm. Although there was still a long way to go before Qin Yu could create the eternal dragon country, he was getting closer. They're so fast. They're really well informed. Qin Yu came out of the ancient ruins and returned to his room. He sat cross-legged for a night to consolidate his cultivation. Suddenly, he walked out of his room and looked into the distance. It's terrifying. It seems that they're not half-baked. The dragon soul that appeared from the ancient dragon god Seal also sensed something and looked over. They sensed an extremely powerful aura that was far stronger than Patriarch Bloodfiend and the other two. There was no doubt that a true heavenly ethereal realm expert had come. And it didn't seem to be an ordinary heavenly ethereal realm expert. Just in time, Zhan Wuqiong, who had heard the news of Qin Yu's arrival and was about to pay a visit, also sensed it. His eyes flashed with a cold light. Over the years, the Battle Clan had been suppressed because of the seal on their bloodline. Today, their bloodline was unsealed and their talents returned. The Battle Clan would be like a hidden dragon emerging from the abyss. They would roam the 9 heavens and shock the world. Zhan Wuqiong stepped into the air and ascended to the sky of the Battle Clan. His hands were placed behind his back as he exuded a boundless aura. Vaguely, the entire void of the War Tribe seemed to have merged with him as one heavenly ethereal realm. After the bloodline awakening, Zhan Wuqiong's cultivation base had risen from the heavenly god realm to the heavenly ethereal realm. And it wasn't the early heavenly ethereal realm, but the late heavenly ethereal realm. His battle prowess was one of the strongest in the entire Void Zone, except for those old monsters who lived in seclusion. Even someone as strong as Nangong Backing, who had founded the Battle God Hall and occupied the most resource-rich region of the Xingzhou continent, was only at the peak heavenly ethereal realm. In other words, Zhan Wuqiong's cultivation base was only slightly lower than Nangong Backing's. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the increase in cultivation and talent of the battle clansmen was after their bloodline was awakened. Of course, Qin Yu knew that Zhan Wuqiong's cultivation base had undergone such a drastic change because of Zhan Wuji. That was because the inheritance ball Zhan Wuji had condensed contained his purest bloodline and soul power origin before he dissipated. Zhan Wuqiong and the others must have absorbed Zhan Wuji's origin. Even so, it was enough to show how terrifying the War Tribe bloodline was. The people of the War Tribe looked at Zhan Wuqiong, who was flying in the air and facing the enemy alone. They were all excited, and they did not even activate the Heavenly Battle Divine formation. With the awakening of their bloodline, they were confident that they would be able to defeat Wu Qiong. Even if a heavenly ethereal stage cultivator of the same cultivation level attacked him, Zhan Wuqiong would definitely be able to suppress him. Roar! But at that moment, the dark demon evil dragon in the chaotic dragon world seemed to have sensed something. He suddenly let out a deafening roar, and his murderous intent surged, shaking the entire chaotic dragon world. There's something strange underground. The dragon soul's eyes flashed as he looked at Qin Yu and transmitted his voice to him. It seems like the person who set up the evil soul demonic formation has gone to check it out. Sensing the dark demon evil dragon's anger, Qin Yu immediately reacted. To be able to sneak into the underground of the War Tribe right under the nose of Zhan Wuqiong, who had just entered the heavenly ethereal stage. It seemed like there was more than one enemy coming this time. Thinking of this, Qin Yu's heart moved. Mysterious array flags flowed from his feet into the War Tribe's ancestral land and into the heavenly battle divine formation. Although Qin Yu's cultivation level had increased to the middle heavenly sovereign stage, it was still difficult for him to fight against a heavenly ethereal stage cultivator if he did not use the ancestor demon body. After all, the heavenly sovereign stage was separated from the heavenly sovereign stage by the heavenly sage stage and the heavenly god stage. The gap between them was not something that could be made up for with just a secret technique. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky far away. It did not seem fast, but in a few breaths' time, he had arrived above the War Tribe. It was an old man. Not only was his hair white, but his face was also full of wrinkles. His eyes were cloudy and he exuded a gloomy aura, as if he could die at any moment. However, Zhan Wuqiong and the others could feel a strong murderous aura coming from the old man's body. It was a baleful aura that only those who had stepped over mountains of corpses and seas of blood could possess. This old man in his twilight years had probably caused countless massacres. Who knew how many lives had perished in his hands? You are the War Tribe leader? When the old man arrived, his cloudy eyes fell on Zhan Wuqiong. Although Zhan Wuqiong's cultivation level was not lower than his, he still looked at Zhan Wuqiong as if he was looking at a dead man. Who are you? Tell me your name. Zhan Wuqiong said coldly. Although he knew that the old man was most likely from the War God Hall, he had never seen or heard of him before. Just like how the War God Hall had spies in the War Tribe, the War Tribe had their own ways to obtain information from the War God Hall. However, Zhan Wuqiong had never heard of this old man before. It seemed like he was a hidden force of the War God Hall. I am the Massacre Sea, the Demon Heaven Old Man. Boundless killing intent quietly emerged from the aged old man's voice, causing one to feel as if one was in a boundless azure battlefield where blood flowed like a river. The demon heaven old man? Does that mean? Zhan Wuqiong thought of something and his eyes changed. He immediately wanted to use a secret technique to inform the people of the war tribe. Gurgle, 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 however, right at this moment, a bloody mist surged forth from all directions. It was like a boundless sea, swallowing the sky and blotting out the sun. In an instant, Zhan Wuqiong was covered by the bloody mist and his figure could not be seen. The old man heaven demon, who had transformed into a blood fog, also turned into a ray of blood light and charged into the blood fog. Immediately after, an incomparably terrifying destructive fluctuation surged out from the blood mist that covered the sky. That man seems to be the demon heaven old man? Could he be the demon heaven old man from the massacre sea who achieved his Tao through killing? The elders of the war tribe heard the demon heaven old man's words and immediately reacted. The demon heaven and demon heaven of the massacre sea were the two murderous gods that rose after the disappearance of their old ancestor. No one knew where they came from. When they appeared, they immediately unified the massacre sea and slaughtered those who did not submit to them. It was out of the war god Hall's expectation that such murderous gods were recruited by the war god Hall. Something's not right. The demon heaven old man and the demon earth true lord of the massacre sea have always appeared together. Activate the heaven battling divine formation to protect our people. Suddenly, an elder of the battle tribe reacted and immediately yelled out, "Rumble!" Almost at the same time, an earth-shattering explosion occurred. The entire war tribe's ancestral land shook violently and dust rose into the sky. Outside the war tribe's ancestral hall, a figure was blasted out from the ground without any warning. He was sent flying in a sorry state and could not even control his body. The people of the war tribe immediately looked over. In front of the war tribe's ancestral hall, two figures stood calmly. They were Qin Yu and Long Hun. As for the person who was sent flying, it was a man in a silver robe. Chapter 780. Judging from that person's facial features, he appeared to have just reached middle age. However, his gaze was extremely old. More importantly, the killing intent that surrounded him was not any weaker than the heaven demon old man's. As expected, true Lord Earthfiend is here too. The upper echelons of the war tribe who had rushed over were terrified when they saw the silver-robed man. The silver-robed man was fighting true Lord Earthfiend, who was as famous as the heaven demon old man. If true Lord Earthfiend was allowed to sneak into the ancestral hall, no one knew what he would do. Fortunately, Qin Yu and Suemo had noticed it in time and stopped true Lord Earthfiend. While they were rejoicing, the upper echelons and elders of the war tribe were also shocked. Although Qin Yu and Su Mo's cultivation had increased by a few levels, they were still only heavenly gods. How did they discover and stop true Lord Earthfiend? True Lord Earthfiend's cultivation was not much weaker than the heaven demon old man's. He had also reached the advanced heavenly ethereal realm. Normally, a heavenly venerate could easily kill a heavenly ethereal realm mighty with a flick of his finger. Are they the mysterious young men who appeared in the war tribe? The people of the war tribe were not the only ones who could not figure it out. True Lord Earthfiend, who had been thrown out of the ground by Qin Yu and Suemo, was also shocked. That pair of eyes filled with bone-piercing killing intent was firmly staring at Qin Yu and his soul. After years of killing, true Lord Earthfiend sensed that Qin Yu and Suemo were very dangerous and could not be treated like ordinary heavenly venerates. However, if he could sense danger when they were merely heavenly venerates, it was enough to show that Qin Yu and Suemo were hiding a big secret. True Lord Earthfiend was secretly on guard, and a strong sense of greed rose in his heart. Nangong Backing's order only asked them to leave 10 of the direct descendants of the war tribe. He did not say that they had to hand over any treasures they obtained. Of course, if they really had any precious treasures, they would not be so obedient even if Nangong Backing asked them to hand them over. Strictly speaking, their relationship with the War God Hall was just cooperation. Although they were the upper echelons of the War God Hall, they were not core members. Kill! Without waiting for true monarch Earth Fiend to react, the War Tribe's upper echelons and elders immediately unleashed their heavenly essence and surged forward, shaking the heavens. Apart from Zhan Wuqiong, who had entered the heavenly ethereal realm, the three supreme elders who were about to pass away had also entered the heavenly ethereal realm. Of course, compared to Zhan Wuqiong, who was at the advanced heavenly ethereal realm, the three supreme elders were only at the middle heavenly ethereal realm. Even so, a battle clan with 4 heavenly ethereal stage experts would definitely be able to rise to the top of the Xingzhou continent and even become a giant in the entire Void Zone. You overestimate yourself. True Lord Earthfiend retracted his cold gaze from Qin Yu and Su Mo and looked at the 3 Grand Elders. He snorted coldly with undisguised contempt. His cultivation level was not much weaker than the Heaven Demon Old Man. He had already reached the advanced heavenly ethereal realm. The 3 supreme elders of the War Tribe had just advanced to the middle stage of the heavenly ethereal realm, and they wanted to fight with him. They were simply overestimating their abilities. Rise! True Lord Earthfiend roared furiously and the earth shook violently. A bone-chilling Earthfiend chi surged out from the depths of the earth and filled the area. The entire War Tribe's ancestral land was shrouded in an Earthfiend mist. True Lord Earthfiend was just like his name. He cultivated the Earthfiend Tao. The earth was boundless and the power of the earth was inexhaustible. Therefore, as long as true Lord Earthfiend stood on the earth, he would be able to control the Earthfiend chi from the depths of the earth and his battle strength would soar. In the past, true Lord Earthfiend had fought against 3 heavenly ethereal realm experts and won. This showed how terrifying true Lord Earthfiend's battle strength was. Sizzle! 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 As the Earthfiend chi surged out, the heavenly yuan destruction of the 3 supreme elders of the War Tribe slowed down as if it had entered a muddy swamp. The destructive power of the heavenly yuan destruction was also weakened by the Earthfiend chi. No wonder you can dominate the slaughter sea. This made the faces of the 3 supreme elders of the War Tribe sink. Of course, although their attacks were blocked, they did not give up. Against true Lord Earthfiend, who had been famous for many years, they did not think that they would be able to suppress him so easily. Heaven battling art! The 3 Grand Elders of the War Tribe formed hand seals. Faint red ancient runes appeared all over their bodies, as if they were surrounded by flames. An ancient battle intent surged out as if the war god of the immemorial era had returned to the world. He was immortal and indestructible and wanted to break through the 9 heavens and 10 earth. The battle prowess of the 3 supreme elders of the War Clan received an enormous increase. They had reached their limit. After so many years, your War Tribe still only knows these little tricks. True Lord Earthfiend was not moved by the War Tribe's supreme secret art. He even sneered. Whoosh! He waved his sleeve and ancient and mysterious talismans flew into the sky and merged with the Earthfiend chi. Immediately, the vast earthly ferocious chi condensed into over a dozen lifelike primordial exotic beasts that were several hundred feet tall. There was a 5-colored fire sparrow, a lunar green bird, a sky-devouring roc, a 3-legged golden crow. Those were the prehistoric beasts that only appeared in myths and legends. Now they were all formed by true Lord Earthfiend. Not only did they have the form, but they also had the aura as if they had traveled through time and space. Every one of them gave off a murderous aura as if they wanted to kill all living things in the world. Chirp! Qin Yu, who was watching the battle in front of the War Tribe's ancestral shrine, was surprised. When true Lord Earthfiend used a secret art to form those ancient beasts, the immemorial era's primordial era's beasts had been formed. The young immortal phoenix that had been sleeping in the ancient seal of the dragon god after leaving the heaven region had awoken and let out a loud cry that split the 9 heavens. This person has the bloodline of the divine phoenix? Qin Yu and the young immortal phoenix were connected and quickly understood. This surprised him. True Lord Earth Fiend, who walked the Earth Tao, actually had the bloodline of the divine phoenix? Didn't that mean that this person was a descendant of a divine beast? Go! At this moment, True Lord Earth Fiend sneered coldly and pointed at the sky. The 10 ancient beasts immediately spread their wings and flew out. 5 colored flames filled the sky, the power of the moon wreaked havoc, a giant rock covered the sky and a golden crow burned the earth. The 10 ancient beasts did not charge towards the 3 grand elders of the war tribe. Instead, they spread out and went to kill the people of the war tribe. Nangong Baking's order was to destroy the war tribe. True Lord Earth Fiend would naturally not be entangled by the 3 grand elders of the war tribe. He would deal with the 3 grand elders after killing the other people of the war tribe. Not good. Young friend, quickly activate the divine array. The 3 supreme elders of the battle tribe were startled as they immediately yelled out. The power of the 10 ancient beasts was comparable to the heavenly ethereal realm. If they were allowed to destroy the people of the war tribe would be destroyed. Although the strength of the people of the war tribe had greatly increased after the bloodline awakening, it was still impossible for them to deal with the combat power of the heavenly ethereal realm. Chapter 781. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Before the 3 supreme elders of the war tribe could speak, Qin Yu activated the heaven-battling divine array the moment the ancient desolate beasts flew into the sky. With the 4 of them as the boundary, the space seemed to be completely sealed, turning into an independent space. The people inside couldn't leave, and the people outside couldn't enter. This was the new space-time ability that the dragon's soul had comprehended, and Qin Yu had integrated it into the heaven-battling divine array. This way, the heaven-battling divine array could protect the entire war tribe, and it could also isolate True Lord Earth Fiend, preventing the shockwaves from their battle from spreading out and affecting the other members of the war tribe. Rumble! The 12 ancient desolate beasts were extremely violent, and after being obstructed, they started to rampage. The terrifying scene of destruction made the faces of the war tribe members outside the sealed space pale, and cold sweat dripped down their back. If it wasn't for Qin Yu activating the heaven-battling divine array, they would have lost countless people by now. This made them calm down. It seemed that even if the war tribe's bloodline awakened, they still had a long way to go before they could regain their former glory. They couldn't be arrogant just because of this. You're courting death. Seeing that his plan was stopped, True Lord Earth Fiend roared. He controlled the 12 ancient desolate beasts and charged towards the 3 supreme elders of the war tribe. As for Qin Yu and the dragon soul, he would deal with them personally. True Lord Earth Fiend took out 7 thumb-sized black nails that were engraved with divine runes and emitted an ancient aura. These were the 7-star god-destroying nails, divine weapons that had been passed down since the ancient times. They were peerless weapons that even the gods of the ancient times were terrified of. It was rumored that once touched by these 7 god-destroying nails, the physical body, 7 spirits, and 3 souls would be separated from the body and sent into a boundless black prison, unable to be reincarnated for eternity until the soul was completely destroyed. True Lord Earth Fiend, who had been rolling on the edge of life and death all year round, immediately used his trump card when he sensed that Qin Yu and the dragon's soul were in danger. Along the way, he had seen countless failures. Therefore, as long as he sensed the slightest abnormality, he would use his full strength without showing any mercy. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the 7 black ancient spikes tore through the void and fell like 7 meteors. They were extremely fast as they shot toward Qin Yu. At this moment, Qin Yu and the dragon's soul felt as if the world had turned upside down and the sun and moon were sinking. It was as if their souls were being forcefully pulled away from their bodies by an invisible force. Of course, this strange feeling only lasted for an instant before it disappeared. It did not cause any injuries to them. As for the 7 star god-vanquishing nails, they stopped when they were still a few feet away from Qin Yu and Lin Fan. One could clearly see that the space where the 7 star god-destroying nail was rippling like a stone entering water, causing the 7 star god-destroying nail to sink into the void. Space? No, it's the power of spacetime. True Lord Earthfiend was indeed a heavenly ethereal realm grand figure who had dominated the slaughter ocean. He immediately saw that Qin Yu and the dragon's soul were surrounded by thick spacetime power, which affected the entire space and time. This made him very concerned. The spacetime power was definitely the most mysterious and troublesome power in the universe. No wonder he could sense danger from Qin Yu and the dragon's soul. Seal. When the dragon's soul used the spacetime power to stop the 7 star god-vanquishing nail, Qin Yu pointed his finger. A deep black hole appeared in the void before him and directly swallowed the 7 star god-vanquishing nail. How is this possible? True Lord Earthfiend, who was about to use a secret technique to get out of the sofa, was shocked. This was because he had lost the ability to sense the 7 star god-vanquishing nail. This made True Lord Earthfiend extremely shocked. The 7 star god-vanquishing nail was his natal Dharma treasure. How could Qin Yu erase the natal mark of the 7 star god-vanquishing nail in an instant? Whoosh! Qin Yu did not give True Lord Earthfiend time to think. His body flashed, and he rushed towards True Lord Earthfiend like a ghost. The chaotic dragon's spear was surrounded by steaming chaotic chi. It was like a chaotic ancient demon at the beginning of the universe. With earth-shattering power, the spear stabbed out and the sky exploded. The dragon's soul shook slightly and the void around it rippled. Then it disappeared. You are digging your own grave. True Lord Earthfiend was furious when he saw that Qin Yu had taken the initiative to attack. Although Qin Yu and the dragon's soul were not simple, they were too arrogant to challenge a heavenly ethereal realm grand figure when they were just heavenly ethereal realm grand figures. Therefore, the furious True Lord Earthfiend rushed towards them. When True Lord Earthfiend rushed out, his body burned with raging flames. In an instant, he turned into a man of fire. Even the void was distorted. Vaguely, the shadow of an ancient divine phoenix appeared in the flames on True Lord Earthfiend's body. It was bathed in the divine fire and its power was invincible. The combination of the earthly fiend energy and the divine phoenix flames increased True Lord Earthfiend's cultivation by a few levels. Vaguely, he had reached the complete heavenly ethereal realm. Bloodline awakening? There is such an expert hidden in the war tribe. The heavenly demon old man, who was fighting Zhan Wuqiong, narrowed his eyes when he sensed the power of the godly phoenix. Since True Lord Earthfiend had awakened the power of the Fire Phoenix bloodline, it meant that he had given it his all. The old man Earthfiend was surprised that there was someone hidden in the war tribe who could force True Lord Earthfiend to give it his all. It was no wonder that Nangong Backing had sent the two of them out. The descendant of the former Void Overlord, Zhan Wuji, was not to be underestimated. What a powerful aura! Zhan Wuqiong also sensed it. His face turned solemn and anxious. With True Lord Earthfiend's terrifying aura, no one in the war tribe could deal with him. Therefore, Zhan Wuji unleashed his ultimate moves to suppress the Old Man Earthfiend as soon as possible. However, the Old Man Earthfiend also wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. He unleashed all kinds of secret skills and techniques, causing the battle to be extremely destructive. Fire Phoenix burns the heavens. True Lord Earthfiend had indeed given it his all. He did not hold back at all. Qin Yu had easily erased the 7-star soul-destroying nail, which made him very wary. As True Lord Earthfiend hollered, the faint image of the Fire Phoenix within the flames on his body let out a phoenix cry that shook the heavens as it soared into the skies. Wherever the phantom of the Fire Phoenix passed, a blazing river of flames appeared in the void. it pierced through the heavens, as if even the heavens and earth were being burned. Just in time, Qin Yu saw the world-exterminating divine might of that fire phoenix's silhouette. However, he did not fear it in the slightest. True Lord Earthfiend had activated the fire phoenix bloodline to kill him. This was a good thing for Qin Yu. Chapter 782. Chirp, chirp. The baby immortal phoenix in Qin Yu's body chirped happily. The fire phoenix bloodline in true Lord Earthfiend's body was purer than the baby immortal phoenix had expected. This made the baby immortal phoenix even happier. Just like Qin Yu and the dragon soul, as long as they refined the dragon bloodline, they would become stronger. As long as the baby immortal phoenix obtained the phoenix bloodline, it would be able to purify its own bloodline and become a supreme immortal beast that could kill immortals. Battle spirit appear. Seeing true Lord Earthfiend charging at him with all his strength, Qin Yu didn't let his guard down. Without using the ancestor demon body, he couldn't defeat a heavenly ethereal realm grand cultivator. Therefore, Qin Yu immediately activated the divine array to awaken the ancient spirit of the god of war. However, this time, he didn't just summon it. He added it to his body. Boom! Inside Qin Yu's body, a monstrous and frightening aura suddenly swept out. It was like a sudden clap of thunder, like a vast ocean striking the sky, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. The primal chaos dragon's spear pierced through the air, tearing the void apart. With a piercing sound, the fire phoenix's shadow was pierced through by the spear. However, the fire phoenix shadow wasn't hurt at all. Following that, a phoenix cry resounded through the 9 heavens. The fire phoenix illusory figure's entire body burned with terrifying flames. It actually managed to incinerate the primal chaos dragon's spear and the primal chaos chi surrounding it. The terrifying aura was enough to burn the sky and destroy the earth. You're overestimating yourself. True Lord Earthfiend, who was secretly on guard against the dragon soul, let out a cold smile when he saw the chaos dragon's spear being incinerated. That fire phoenix phantom contained all of his fire phoenix bloodline power. Although it wasn't as powerful as the real fire phoenix of the primordial divine bird, it was so terrifying that even ordinary divine treasures couldn't resist it. Unless it was a divine treasure that contained the power of an ancient deity. As for the chaotic dragon spear, it was obvious that it was at most equivalent to a pinnacle sacred treasure. The chaotic dragon spear would definitely be burned to ashes in front of the sky, destroying divine flame. Buzz, buzz, buzz. However, at this moment, a soft trembling sound could be heard. Perfected Lord Earthfiend sensed it immediately and his eyes narrowed when he looked over. How could this be? Mysterious, ancient fiery runes began to appear on the Chaos Dragon spear that had been destroyed by the Chaos Chi. The instant those ancient flame talismans appeared, the Fire Phoenix's silhouette began to tremble involuntarily, as if it had encountered its natural enemy. Fear appeared in those phoenix eyes that were filled with spirituality. With a flap of its huge wings, it was about to fly away. This shocked true Lord Earthfiend. He had never seen such a situation before. Even though the illusory fiery phoenix had its own spirituality, it wasn't a physical entity. Even though it had been annihilated, it could still be revived by the fiery phoenix bloodline in his body. Therefore, even if he encountered a super-powerful existence that he was no match for, he had never shown fear. But now, facing a mere heavenly Venerate Jr., he actually wanted to escape? This was completely out of true Lord Earthfiend's expectations. In fact, he couldn't even react in time. Seal! Almost at the instant when the illusory fiery phoenix was about to fly away, Qin Yu suddenly shouted. Billions of divine lights were emitted from his body. Immortal and indestructible supreme fighting spirit soared into the sky. A mysterious and terrifying power surged into the Chaos Dragon spear. Immediately, the fiery runes that appeared on the Chaos Dragon's spear seemed to have received a huge tonic. They danced in the air and merged into the body of the illusory fiery phoenix. This caused the illusory fiery phoenix to freeze on the spot as if it had been struck by lightning. It even fell from the sky. Those ancient, mysterious flame talismans contained the power of the awakened immortal phoenix. Qin Yu still didn't know the immortal phoenix's natural superpower. However, from the looks of those flame talismans, it was definitely related to the Tao of Fire. In fact, it was highly likely that it was the power of laws that suppressed other Tao of Fire. After all, the Fire Phoenix contained the infinite power of the divine fire. Even so, it was completely vulnerable in front of the immortal phoenix's natural superpower flame talismans. Its entire bloodline was suppressed. This showed how shocking the immortal phoenix's natural superpower was. Die. At that moment, true Lord Earthfiend felt that the power of the bloodline in his body had been sealed. The vast and endless divine power was also flowing away quickly. More than half of his cultivation came from the Fire Phoenix bloodline. If the Fire Phoenix bloodline was sealed, his combat strength would be directly cut in half. The source of all this was Qin Yu. Therefore, true Lord Earthfiend didn't have time to take precautions. The dragon soul that had disappeared was as fast as lightning, and it attacked Qin Yu. He threw a punch and there was a dazzling Earthfiend blood radiance. In the Earthfiend blood radiance there was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. This punch was called the Earthfiend Blood Sea Fist. It was created by true Lord Earthfiend by combining the supreme Massacre Blood Soul in the Massacre Sea. It was comparable to an ancient divine skill. It was his most powerful trump card after he obtained the Fire Phoenix bloodline. With the help of the boundless Earthfiend Chi, true Lord Earthfiend had once killed a heavenly ethereal realm Archean demonic beast with one punch. It had extremely pure destructive power. Chaos in the void. However, at the moment when true Lord Earthfiend's divine fist that was capable of causing the heavens to collapse was about to reach Qin Yu, the space before Qin Yu suddenly became chaotic. There was a mysterious power of time and space that caused the void to become chaotic. Time and space were greatly affected at this moment. It was as if there was a gap in space. True Lord Earthfiend's killing move was greatly affected. The destructive divine power was continuously weakened by the chaotic void. It was the dragon soul that had escaped into the void. After entering the heavenly venerate realm, the dragon soul had a deeper understanding of the power of time and space. Its power was also more terrifying. Kill! Qin Yu and the dragon soul were connected, and he naturally wouldn't miss such a good opportunity. Almost as soon as the void became chaotic, he had already charged out. He had activated the power of the ancient spirit of the god of war to the extreme, causing his flesh and blood to be filled with powerful divine power. Had it not been for Qin Yu's divine dragon tyrannical body, his body would have already been shattered by the overwhelming power of the ancient spirit of the god of war. Boom! Before the Earth Fiend True Monarch's shocked eyes, Qin Yu shot out a primal chaos divine fist. It was the chaotic killing art of the chaotic dragon ancestor. However, this killing art had also merged the golden flame heavenly dragon, purple lightning divine dragon, dark demon evil dragon, and more importantly, it contained all the divine power of the ancient spirit of the god of war. Poof! With one punch, the terrifying defense around true Lord Earthfiend was shattered. True Lord Earthfiend's body shook violently and he spat out blood. His aura immediately became weak. Even though true Lord Earthfiend had been refining his body with Earthfiend Chi, he still couldn't withstand the destructive divine fist. Although he appeared to have only suffered some light injuries on the surface, his internal organs had been completely pulverized, and even his spirit had been completely destroyed. With one punch, true Lord Earthfiend, a late-stage heavenly ethereal realm expert who was famous in the Xingzhou Massacre Ocean, had died. Chapter 783. Poof, poof, poof. True Lord Earth Fiend was killed by Qin Yu. The dozen or so primordial beasts that were formed by the Earth Fiend Qi immediately turned into Earth Fiend Qi and dissipated. This is, True Lord Earth Fiend is dead? No way. The War Clan's 3 supreme elders, who were fighting against the dozen or so ancient great desolate era ferocious birds, were all startled when they saw those ancient great desolate era ferocious birds collapsing. Soon, they regained their senses and looked in the direction of Qin Yu. When they saw True Lord Earthfiend's lifeless corpse, they couldn't help but reveal intense shock and even respect in their eyes. Even though they knew that Qin Yu had used the heaven-battling divine formation, they were still in awe of his terrifying strength. Even if the 3 of them joined forces, they could not defeat True Lord Earthfiend. However, Qin Yu had managed to kill True Lord Earthfiend with the help of the ancient formation. No matter what method he used, Qin Yu was able to kill an advanced heavenly ethereal realm expert. This meant that Qin Yu's strength was comparable to a complete heavenly ethereal realm expert. How can this be? Above the sky, the old man Tian Sha, who was fighting against Zhan Wuqiong in a frenzied manner, had a horrified expression on his face. He could sense that True Lord Earthfiend had been killed. Although True Lord Earthfiend's cultivation was weaker than his, he was definitely one of the top heavenly ethereal realm expert. He had even fought against a complete heavenly ethereal realm expert. Apart from Zhan Wuqiong, there was such a terrifying existence in the War Tribe. This made the old man Tianfiend terrified. The unknown was always the scariest. As the old man Tianfiend could not figure out the strength of the War Tribe, the thought of being surrounded by Zhan Wuqiong and the others made him lose his will to fight. He wanted to escape immediately. Trying to escape? Zhan Wuqiong saw through the old man Tianfiend's intention and shouted coldly. He immediately surrounded the old man Tianfiend. Even if Zhan Wuqiong did not know the reason why the old man Tian Sha wanted to leave, he would not allow him to leave so easily. If he couldn't make them pay the price for openly invading the war race, then his ambition to awaken his bloodline and lead the war race back to its glorious peak would be nothing more than a joke. Immediately, Zhan Wuqiong unleashed his mighty fighting power, causing the void to shake violently. The old man Tian Sha's expression turned serious. He did not dare to underestimate his opponent and gave it his all. As the 2 of them fought, their killing intent grew even stronger. More than half of the sky was shaken. A battle of this level had long since attracted the attention of the surrounding experts and large factions. Countless spies were watching from the outside, but no one dared to approach. A battle between experts at the advanced stage of the heavenly ethereal realm was a forbidden area for ordinary cultivators. If they stepped into it, they would definitely die. Chirp. After killing perfected Lord Heavenfiend, Qin Yu did not attack Old Man Heavenfiend. With a thought, the baby immortal phoenix flew out of the ancient seal of the divine dragon. It circled in the air, and suddenly rushed into the sealed fire phoenix shadow. Along with a clear phoenix cry that shook the 9 heavens resounding, the fire phoenix phantom transformed into specks of sparkling and translucent flames that completely merged into the infant immortal phoenix's body. Immediately, the immortal phoenix, which was only the size of a fist, let out countless rays of bright immortal light. It was filled with an ancient immortal aura, as if an ancient immortal spirit had descended to the mortal world. The immortal phoenix spread its wings. Every feather was filled with pure immortal light, causing the immortal phoenix to become transparent under the sunlight. It was extremely beautiful. Its body had obviously grown a few times. Qin Yu could clearly sense that the baby immortal phoenix was undergoing a transformation. The baby immortal phoenix kept crying, and its cries shook the 9 heavens. Billions of living beings felt their souls trembling. Although the baby immortal phoenix's cultivation did not become much stronger, its bloodline had been completely reborn. The supreme immortal aura that suppressed all living beings showed the terrifying growth of the baby immortal phoenix. Meanwhile, in a vast ancient world that was unknown how far away from the void zone or even the Great Spirit world, the eyelids of a person who was sitting on a mountain peak like a corpse suddenly trembled slightly. In the next moment, he opened his eyes. His gaze seemed to contain divine lightning that pierced through the void and caused the heavens to sink. In his ancient eyes, the images of the stars in the sky and the birth and death of billions of universes appeared. Bloodline ancestral awakening, but it's not in the immortal phoenix domain. Could it be that the royal bloodline has wandered outside? It was a skinny old man. His aura was faintly discernible, and he seemed to be about to pass away. At this moment, he stood up. His deep eyes that seemed to be able to see through all living beings in the world looked in a certain direction. He could not hide his excitement. Bloodline ancestral awakening. In the Immortal Phoenix clan, there had not been a member of the clan who had undergone ancestral awakening for millions of years. In the history of the Immortal Phoenix clan, every time someone with ancestral awakening appeared, they would be able to lead the Immortal Phoenix clan back to supreme glory. They could even return to the ancestral land of the Immortal Phoenix clan, the Nine Heavens immortal world. The skinny old man waved his right hand, and a huge starry sky map appeared. The skinny old man formed hand seals as if he was using some kind of secret technique. Suddenly, a spot of light lit up on the starry sky map, which made the skinny old man even more excited. The void zone of the Great Spirit world. He put away the starry sky map of the 10 Directions world and waved his hand. A teleportation divine formation formed by thousands of rays of divine light appeared. As the divine light flashed, the skinny old man directly crossed the world barrier and disappeared from this great world. The void zone, the battle tribe. Rumble. The battle between Zhan Wuqiong and the heaven demon old man was getting fiercer and fiercer. The violent explosions that came from the sky were like continuous thunderclap. Heaven and earth seemed to be faintly torn apart. If it were not for the protection of the heaven-battling divine formation, the entire ancestral land of the battle tribe would have been destroyed. After the baby Immortal Phoenix's bloodline evolved, Qin Yu put it back into the ancient seal of the Dragon God. As for the battle between Zhan Wuqiong and the heaven demon old man, Qin Yu did not interfere. If he could not even deal with a heavenly ethereal stage expert, how could Zhan Wuqiong deal with the War God Hall? Qin Yu would not stay in the Void Zone forever. Moreover, once the War God Hall learned that the Battle Tribe's bloodline had evolved, it was easy to imagine what they would do. In the past, the Battle Tribe had not been destroyed because the War God Hall wanted to control them with the Evil Soul Demon formation. However, now that the Evil Soul Demon formation was destroyed and the Battle Tribe's bloodline had risen, the War God Hall would not tolerate the Battle Tribe anymore. Appear! At this moment, Zhan Wuqiong suddenly shouted in the middle of the white-hot battle in the sky. His voice was like thunder. Immediately, the ancestral land of the Battle Tribe shook violently. An ancient divine seal that was dozens of meters wide flew into the sky with supreme divine might that could suppress the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The ancient divine seal was engraved with images of countless ancient gods worshipping and immortal spirits preaching Tao. The gods and immortal spirits that were prostrating themselves were so lifelike that it was as if they had real souls. Chapter 784. Heaven Battling Seal. Qin Yu's eyes lit up as he recognized the ancient seal. It was the supreme Tao weapon of the War Tribe. It was forged by Zhan Wuji and contained Zhan Wuji's supreme power. However, after Zhan Wuji went missing, the Heaven Battling Seal also disappeared. The outside world had always thought that the Heaven Battling Seal was taken away by Zhan Wuji. No one had expected it to be sealed in the War Tribe's ancestral land. Now that the bloodline of the War Tribe had been unsealed, and they were ready to return to the ranks of the top forces in the Void Zone, Zhan Wuqiong had also awakened the Heaven Battling Seal. When the Heaven Battling Seal appeared, a boundless Tao aura spread out. Heaven and earth shook and the universe sank. Everyone within 100 million miles felt their souls trembling as if they were facing an ancient deity. Oh no! The old man's face changed drastically when the heaven-battling seal appeared. He felt a sense of danger that he had never felt before. He had not felt such a sense of danger for hundreds of years, except for the war tribe's leader, Zhang Wuji. It made him want to run away immediately. However, the supreme Tao aura from the heaven-battling seal sealed him, and he did not dare to act rashly. If he ran away, he would definitely be killed. Even the old man, who had reached the late heavenly ethereal stage, had to use all his strength to deal with such a terrifying Tao weapon. Heaven-battling great wheel! Therefore, the heaven demon old man shouted angrily. His hands formed a seal and his body swelled up. In an instant, his body expanded several times and he looked like a small giant. Strange Tao runes appeared on his skin and he gave off a terrifying murderous aura. One could clearly see the heaven-ferocious chi gathering around the heaven-ferocious old man. The heaven-battling aura was extremely dense. It was like a thick fog and wave. It even turned into the colors of yin and yang and turned into a huge heaven-battling yin-yang wheel. The old man was at the center of the wheel. He turned himself into the core of the wheel and drew in the boundless heaven-battling aura. This was the old man's supreme secret technique. It was similar to the boundless heaven-battling aura that true Lord Earthfiend used, but it was more powerful. After all, compared to the earth, the sky was truly boundless. From a certain point of view, such means had already touched upon the power of the natural order of the world. It should be known that only the supreme beings of the heavenly palace realm could sense the power of the rules of heaven and earth. The heaven demon old man was only at the later stage of the heavenly ethereal realm, but he could vaguely touch the rules of heaven and earth. This showed how terrifying his strength was. Of course, this also showed that the old man heaven demon was really going all out. If even this couldn't stop the heaven-battling seal, then he wouldn't be able to escape today. Unfortunately, you still haven't mastered the laws of heaven and earth. Zhang Wuqiong snorted coldly. Even he was surprised by the old man Tian Sha's strength. However, in front of the heaven-battling seal, all struggles were futile. This heavenly battle seal was the Tao weapon of the war tribe's old ancestor, Endless War. It had been nurtured by Endless War using the heavenly cycle Tao art for many years. As for Zhang Wuji at his peak, his cultivation had reached the peak of the heavenly completion realm, which was enough for him to be titled as an emperor. Even in the entire 10 Directions world, they were definitely peak existences that could be counted on one's fingers. If it wasn't for the chaos in the Sky Demon tribe, Endless War's current cultivation would have reached the supreme immortal realm. Therefore, how could the old man Tian Sha, who had touched the power of the rules of heaven and earth with his secret skill, withstand the heaven-battling seal? Go! Zhang Wuqiong didn't do anything else. He just pointed at the old man Tian Sha from afar. Like a breeze, ripples appeared in the void. Before the crowd could see it clearly, the heaven-battling seal appeared in front of the old man Tian Sha. It was so fast that it seemed like it had passed through the void. No one had time to react. Kill! The old man Tian Sha immediately activated the heaven-battling great wheel when Zhang Wuqiong made a move. As the heaven-battling aura filled the air, the heaven-battling great wheel turned into a huge yin-yang vortex. It was deep and mysterious, as if it could devour everything in the universe. Rumble! The heaven-battling seal and the heaven-battling great wheel collided in an instant. An earth-shattering explosion resounded. The entire heavens and earth shook violently, as if the heavens were about to collapse. One could even see huge spatial cracks appearing in the void where the two collided, emitting violent and chaotic spatial ripples. The chaotic spatial power swept out like a tsunami, turning everything within 1,000,000 miles into a chaotic forbidden zone. Many onlookers in the dark couldn't escape in time and were instantly killed. Fortunately, the war tribe's ancestral land was protected by the heaven-battling divine array and the dragon soul's space-time superpower. Crack soon, the heaven-battling seal and the heaven-battling great wheel came to an end. The heaven-battling seal's gods and immortal essences shone with dazzling sacred immortal light. The old man Tian Sha gave it his all, and the heaven-battling great wheel shattered. Boom! Then, the heaven-battling great wheel exploded in front of the old man Tian Sha's horrified eyes, turning into countless fragments that scattered in all directions. Poof! 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 The old man Tian Sha was hit by the heaven-battling seal's sacred immortal light, and bloody holes appeared on his body. The sacred immortal light contained endless destructive divine power, and easily shattered the old man Tian Sha's heaven-battling great wheel defense. His soul was annihilated by the immortal light. Now, the heavenly dipper earthly fiend duo, who dominated the Slaughter Sea and were infamous in the Void Domain's holy continent, had both died at the hands of the war tribe. It wasn't long before the result of today's battle spread throughout the holy continent, shaking the entire Void Domain. The war tribe had been silent for hundreds of years. All the forces in the Void Domain had thought that it would be impossible for them to rise again. However, who would have thought that the War Clan would use two late heavenly ethereal stage experts as stepping stones to become one of the most powerful forces in the Void Zone? If it had been hundreds of years ago, killing late heavenly Void experts wouldn't have been enough for them to rise to the top of the Void Domain. However, after the turmoil that had happened hundreds of years ago, the number of Heavenly Palace experts in the Void Domain had dwindled. No one had even seen a Heavenly Palace expert for hundreds of years. As for the Heaven Ascension realm, they had already completely vanished without a trace. Therefore, the battle prowess the war tribe had displayed now was already at the top of the Void Domain. In the entire Void Domain, other than the War God Temple and a few other major forces in the Holy Continent, no other force had such terrifying battle prowess. In the war tribe's ancestral land, ever since the old man Tian Sha and true monarch Earthly Fiend were killed, the entire war tribe had been celebrating. The elders who had awakened their bloodlines all suggested that they attack the War God Temple and take back the War God Temple's former glory. This suggestion was approved by everyone in the war tribe, including Zhan Wuqiong. Zhan Wuqiong ordered. No matter how many old subordinates came, even if none of them came, the war race would still attack on time. Yes. Immediately, the war clan's upper echelon experts began to make preparations. Firstly, they were going to open the teleportation formation. Secondly, they were going to send away the war clan's clansmen that did not possess any battle prowess. Only then would they be able to fight the War God Temple to the death without any worries. War race within the palace. Young Master Qin. After leaving the meeting of the war race, Zhan Wuqiong immediately came to visit Qin Yu. What's the matter? After the battle, Qin Yu had already prepared the teleportation formation. It was time to return to the fire domain. I am here to thank young master for stopping the ancient demon Holy Ground and Heaven Fiend True Immortal and saving the lives of my clansmen. Zhan Wuqiong did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Secondly, I hope that young master can help the war race. We want to kill the War God Temple and take back the glory of our race. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. Although he admired Zhan Wuji, he had also obtained the ancestral demon body because of the Yin-Yang Supreme God. However, he had already done what Zhan Wuji had asked him to do. As for the internal grudges of the war race, Qin Yu did not want to get involved. No force could be passed down forever. If the War God Temple was the enemy of the war race today, there would be other strong enemies to deal with tomorrow. Of course, we will not let young master do it for free. I heard that young master is interested in the dragon race. Zhan Wuqiong immediately understood Qin Yu's thoughts when he saw Qin Yu's expression. You know where the dragon race is? Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were shocked. They were in a hurry to return to the Fire Domain because of the inheritance of the Fire Emperor and the Fire Dragon race in the Fire God Palace. If Zhan Wuqiong knew where the Dragon race was, the trip to the Fire Domain could be postponed. I don't know where the Dragon race is, but I saw the Dragon's tomb in the land of the fallen gods. This was why Zhan Wuqiong was confident that he could persuade Qin Yu. Dragon's tomb? Land of the fallen gods? Qin Yu had a detailed understanding of the Dragon's tomb while he was in the war race. It was said that the mysterious Dragon's tomb was a mysterious space created by the eternal Dragon Lord of the Dragon Field before the Dragon Field was destroyed. It housed billions of dragon guards. It was said that as long as one was recognized by the Dragon's tomb, one would receive the eternal Dragon Lord's inheritance and inherit the billions of dragon guards. Of course, although the Dragon's tomb appeared in the Void Zone from time to time, no one had confirmed the existence of the eternal Dragon Lord's inheritance. To be more precise, no one had even entered the Dragon's tomb. If you are willing to help, I will personally take you to the land of the fallen god. Of course, even if you are unwilling, I will tell you where it is. Zhan Wuqiong did not force him and said sincerely, "Let's go and have a look." The Dragon's Soul looked at Zhan Wuqiong and sent a message to Qin Yu. "All right, after this battle, we will go to the land of the fallen gods." Qin Yu agreed after thinking for a while. Strictly speaking, he was involved in the internal strife between the war race and the war god hall. He had killed the ancient demon Sacred Ground and true Lord Earthfiend. If the war god hall received the news, they would not sit by and do nothing. If the War God Hall suppressed the War God Hall, the War God Hall would try to stop him when the Dragon's tomb appeared. In that case, he might as well work harder and destroy the War God Hall. Zhan Wuqiong was overjoyed. He immediately brought Qin Yu to the war race's ancestral land and used a supreme secret technique to detain the heaven-battling divine formation. At this moment, the war race's powerless clansmen were all sent away. Only the elite experts stayed behind to prepare. At this moment, the War God Hall was tens of thousands of miles away. The atmosphere was heavy and oppressive. The upper echelons of the War God Hall were gathered. Hall Master, the old man Tiansha and true Lord Earthfiend were really killed by the war race? A middle heavenly ethereal realm core elder asked in disbelief. The other elders who had gathered could not believe it and were shocked. When they heard the news, they could not believe it. After all, the old man Tiansha and true Lord Earthfiend were both at the late heavenly ethereal realm and had powerful trump cards. They could even fight a complete heavenly ethereal realm expert. Even if they could not defeat them, they should be able to escape. They should not have been killed. If this were to continue, the war clan would sooner or later be replaced by others. In the past few years, the core elders of the War God Temple who had entered the War God Temple would occasionally speak up, saying that they wanted to completely wipe out the war race to prevent future troubles. But Gu Wudi suppressed them all. He had only agreed to work with Nangong backing because he wanted to protect Everlasting War's reputation. He still couldn't bring himself to kill his master's descendant. However, who would have thought that after the war clan fell into silence for so many years, they would actually rise up again? According to the news, the war clan has already unsealed the War God Command and is beginning to summon their old subordinates. Nangong backing slowly spoke. Gu Wudi's expression changed. Since the war clan had unsealed the War God Command and begun to summon their old subordinates, their intentions were self-evident. The war clan was already prepared to attack and take back the glory that belonged to them. In other words, the war clan was already prepared to gamble everything. This matter was no longer something that could be stopped just because they wanted to. Junior brother, now that things have come to this, you should also make a decision. In the battle back then, countless core members of the war clan died. Although you didn't kill them, you chose to watch from the sidelines. Now that the war clan has risen up, do you think that they will forget about their blood feud just because of their old friendship? Nangong Backing said in a low voice. Although the War God Temple was definitely stronger than the War Clan in terms of overall strength, if the War Clan were to summon their old subordinates, the result would be different. Thus, at this time, in the entire War God Temple, Gu Wudi, whose battle strength was second only to his own, was extremely important. If Gu Wudi still didn't do anything at this critical moment, or if he decided to betray them, they would be in great trouble. Senior brother, don't worry. I know what to do. Gu Wudi slowly nodded his head. Since he had made his choice back then, he wouldn't make another choice now. Otherwise, whether it was the War God Temple or the War Clan, there would be no place for him. Nangong Backing nodded his head slightly. With him and Gu Wudi here, even if the War Clan was hiding their strength, he had nothing to fear. Temple Master, could it be that the War Clan is gathering their old subordinates to invade? Seeing that Nangong Backing and Gu Wudi had finished talking, a core elder asked. The other core elders also looked over. Although they didn't know much about the War God token, they had heard about it. In Zhan Wuji's era, every time the War God token was activated, it meant that the War God Palace would start a war. Regardless of whether it was to fight against invading foreign forces or to attack other martial domains. That's right. This is also the reason why I've gathered everyone here today. According to a secret report, the War Clan has already evacuated all of their people and gathered their elite forces. Nangong Backing nodded his head. Haha, they're really overestimating themselves. Do they think that by eliminating the ancient demon Sacred Land and Tiangang Disha, they'll be able to resist the War God Temple? Since they've taken the initiative to invade, even if the Temple Master and Vice Temple Master fight them, the clans of the Void Zone won't have the right to say anything. That's right. The Temple Master and Vice Temple Master have already done everything they can. Since they don't know what's good for them, they can't blame us. That's how it should be. In the martial world, the strong are respected. Bloodlines can't protect the reputation of our ancestors. Hearing this, the War God Temple's elders all laughed coldly, their killing intent solemn. Although the War Clan's battle prowess had shocked and even frightened them, that was under the condition that Nangong Backing and Gu Wudi didn't take action. If Nangong Backing and Gu Wudi took action, they wouldn't have the slightest bit of pressure. In the current Void Zone, apart from those Heaven Palace realm old monsters who had been living in seclusion, Nangong Backing and Gu Wudi's battle prowess was definitely the strongest. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been so many people following the War God Palace during its internal strife. To put it bluntly, in this world, the strong were respected. Since we're all in agreement, pass down the order to prepare for battle. We'll end all future troubles with this battle. Nangong Backing said solemnly as his dignified gaze swept across everyone from the War God Temple. This battle would determine the future of the War God Temple. They could only win, not lose. Yes. Immediately, all of the War God Temple's experts received the order and went to prepare. As the War God Temple and the War God Temple moved, the forces of the entire Xingzhou felt a terrifying pressure, as if a storm was coming. The forces of the entire Void Zone were waiting quietly. This civil war that had lasted for hundreds of years would most likely end soon. Chapter 787. Battle Tribe Ancestral Land. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the void shook, ancient and mysterious inscriptions appeared and formed an ancient teleportation array. The expression of the battle race expert guarding the teleportation array shook. Did the old members of the Battle God Palace respond to the Battle God order and gather here? As expected, as the teleportation formation lit up, a plump figure appeared out of thin air. It was a fat man who was holding a wine jug. He was dressed sloppily and reeked of alcohol. If one looked at his clothes, they would think he was a beggar. Wine Marquis? However, when the fat man appeared, the battle tribe elite was pleasantly surprised. Wine Marquis Xian Danyang was a famous elite of the Battle God Palace in the past. His cultivation had reached the late stage of the heavenly ethereal realm. During the Civil War a few hundred years ago, he had displayed extraordinary strength. Where is Zhan Wuqiong? Why isn't he here? He sent you juniors to guard here. Is he looking down on us? Or is he not in charge of the battle tribe now? Xian Danyang looked at the high-level powerhouses of the battle race that welcomed him. His drunken eyes flashed with a dazzling light. Obviously, he had confirmed that the rumors were true and that the bloodline of the battle tribe had been unsealed. Many thoughts flashed through Xian Danyang's mind. Ever since Zhan Wuji, the master of the Battle God Palace, had disappeared, the bloodline of the battle tribe had been sealed. Now, the bloodline of the battle tribe had been unsealed and they had risen. This naturally made Xian Danyang think of Zhan Wuji. When the battle tribe was at its peak, Xian Danyang was only a mid-tier elite in the Battle God Palace. He wasn't even qualified to meet Zhan Wuji. However, the times were different now. The heavenly ethereal realm had become a legend. The old monsters of the heavenly palace realm had hidden themselves and the heavenly ethereal realm had become the top fighting force. Even if Zhan Wuji came out, he would definitely look at Xian Danyang differently. Senior Wine Marquis, the clan leader has prepared a banquet in the sacred palace. Senior, please go. The elite of the battle tribe immediately led Xian Danyang to the sacred palace. Xian Danyang's eyes flashed. From the way the elite of the battle tribe addressed him, he could tell that Zhan Wuqiong was still the clan leader of the battle tribe. In that case, could it be that he had guessed wrongly? Everlasting war had not returned? However, if it wasn't for Zhan Wuji, how could the war tribe have the resources to destroy the Heavenly Dipper Earthly Fiend and Heavenly Dipper Earthly Fiend that had dominated the Slaughter Sea for hundreds of years? After all, even Xian Danyang, who was rather confident in his own strength, was not confident that he could deal with Old Man Tiangang and True Lord Earthfiend. Soon, Xian Danyang arrived at the war tribe's holy temple. The upper echelon elders of the war clan were all gathered in the sacred palace. Zhan Wuqiong sat on the main seat. However, a young man sat on his left and he wasn't one of the three supreme elders of the war tribe. This scene surprised Xian Danyang. He couldn't help but carefully size up Qin Yu. But no matter how he looked, Qin Yu's cultivation was only at the Empyrean realm. Xian Danyang could kill him with a single palm strike. How could Zhan Wuqiong allow him to sit there? One had to know that the war clan had always respected the strong. As for the order of their positions, they also had a precise plan. Without sufficient strength, no matter how high one's status was, one wouldn't be qualified to sit on it. Senior Jiuho, long time no see. Zhan Wuqiong, who had already received the news, immediately stood up and greeted Xian Danyang with a smile. Xian Danyang was much older than Zhan Wuqiong's father. In front of Xian Danyang, Zhan Wuqiong was just a junior. With the recovery of your bloodline, you have reached the heavenly Empyrean realm. Zhan Wuqiong, you are indeed the most outstanding genius among the younger generation. Your talent is amazing. Xian Danyang looked deeply at Zhan Wuqiong and his eyes were filled with shock. Although Zhan Wuqiong had restrained his aura, in Xian Danyang's eyes, his blood qi was unfathomable. Such a terrifying aura was no weaker than Xian Danyang's. In fact, Xian Danyang was even stronger. Senior Jiuho has also reached the advanced heavenly Empyrean realm. You are already one of the top experts in Xingzhou. Zhan Wuqiong smiled. In the past, Zhan Wuqiong would have to bow to Jiuho and Xian Danyang. But now, although Zhan Wuqiong's attitude was warm, he treated Jiuho as an equal. There was no seniority in the martial path, the strong were respected. Since we are both at the late heavenly Empyrean realm, you don't have to call me senior. Just call me by my name. Xian Danyang reacted quickly and adjusted his position. Since that's the case, I will accept your invitation. Zhang Wuqiong nodded and invited Xian Danyang to sit. I wonder if the release of the Divine Order and the gathering of the old members is for the War God Palace? Xian Danyang sat on the empty seat on the right. The seat on the right was specially prepared for the old members of the War God Palace. However, so far, only Xian Danyang had come. That's right. In the past, Nangong Backing betrayed his teacher and ancestors and fought for power. He expelled the War God Palace to this remote ancestral land and tried to destroy the War God Palace. Now that the bloodline of the Battle Tribe has returned, it's time to reclaim the past glory of our tribe, restore the name of the Divine Battle Palace, and display the might of our ancestors. Therefore, we've gathered our seniors to lend us a hand. Seeing that Xian Danyang went straight to the point, Zhang Wuqiong nodded solemnly and said, Although I have lived in seclusion for the past few years, I know that the War God Palace has become the overlord of the Xingzhou continent after it was established. During this period, it has destroyed more than 10 overlord forces. From this, we can see that the War God Palace is not as simple as it seems. Currently, the War God Palace has less than 10 Heavenly Empyrean Realm experts, right? Xian Danyang's eyes flickered. Among the old members of the War God Palace, other than those who had died in the internal strife, he was the only one who had come today. Looking at the top Heavenly Empyrean Realm experts in the War God Palace, other than Zhang Wuqiong, there were only 3 Grand Elders. Even if the War God Palace had some hidden strength, it would be limited. How dare they challenge the War God Palace with such a small force? Where did the War God Palace's confidence come from? Could it be that the War God Palace's ancestor had returned? Since we dared to attack the War God Hall, we naturally made preparations. If Wine Marquis is willing to lend my war clan a hand, we will naturally be endlessly grateful. If you are unwilling, we will have no complaints at all. Zhang Wuqiong said with a smile. However, he did not reveal the War God Palace's trump card. After all, no one knew if Wine Marquis was related to the War God Palace. Why would Zhang Wuqiong reveal his trump card at this moment? Xian Danyang smiled when he heard this. He did not leave, nor did he say anything. It was obvious that he wanted to see if he should get involved in this matter. Zhang Wuqiong did not mind and arranged the people of the War God Palace in an orderly manner. As time passed, the old members of the War God Palace gathered. There were more than 30 of them. The weakest was a half-step Heavenly Empyrean Realm expert, and the strongest was comparable to Xian Danyang. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.